Live from Olympic Stadium in Montreal, Canada, WWOR-TV presents New York Mets baseball. As tonight, the Mets take on the Montreal Expos. Mets Baseball 87 is brought to you this evening by Bud Light, the light beer with a first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, who invite you to test drive a hot new Nissan car or truck and see why Nissan makes you feel like driving. By the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. It's everything a directory should be. By Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Met. It pays. By the Good Olds Guys, your New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it. Pitching for the Mets tonight, right-hander Terry Leach, who's 8-0 with an ERA of 2.52. And on the mound for the Expos, right-hander Floyd Yeomans, who's 8-4 with an ERA of 3.36.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Rob Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie, set for the second game of this three-game set. Montreal winning the first. And, Tim, not too long ago, Dwight Gooden and Floyd Yeomans were drafted 1-2 in the nation. Yeomans, a great prospect in the Met organization, traded to Montreal in the Gary Carter trade, and now the Mets facing him and in dire need for pitching, as Terry Leach has filled the gap with an 8-0 record, but no one thought the Mets would be in a position where they needed pitching.
Of course, that trade made a couple of years ago, and Yeomans this year has just been terrific. He's got an 8-4 record. 3 of his last 4 wins have been shutouts, but of course everybody knows what Terry Leach has done also. I think one of the keys tonight, Ralph, will Terry Leach have the control that is so vital to him, because his last start, July the 11th, he was on the DL with that bad knee and has only worked an inning and a third since then. He relies on control, not so with Yeomans. He can make some bad pitches and get away with it because he's got good velocity.
And Yeomans does get up in the 90-mile-an-hour range. And, of course, the Montreal Expos, a very hot ball club, and they are tough to beat right now. So we'll be back with the start of the ball game in just a moment, right after this message from Bud Light. Well, here in the Big O, we're all set to go. With the Mets against the Montreal Expos, the Mets coming into this ball game in third place, trailing Montreal by 2.5 games. The Cardinals leading by 4 games over Montreal. Philadelphia moving up. They're in 4th place. They trail by 9. Chicago 10.5 out. And Pittsburgh 17.5 behind. Montreal and the Expos have done a good job so far this year. They were picked to be in last place or next to last at the start of the season. They have fooled all the experts, and they are a contending ball club.
They are indeed, Ralph. And by the way, you mentioned the Philadelphia Phillies. They are now 9.5 back. And how did they do it? Well, they lost today at Wrigley Field 5-3. Andre Dawson with 3 home runs today. So
Andre Dawson, the ex-Montreal Expo, and they thought when they lost Dawson, that would be a disastrous blow to the ball club.
Dawson now leads the National League in home runs with 31 home runs, ahead of Jack Clark and Eric Davis.
So the umpire's out to check out the grounds rules and look at the lineup cards. Bruce Fleming will be the umpire behind home plate. Charlie Williams, the umpire at first base. Jim Quick, the umpire at second. Tom Hallion, the umpire at third. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV, and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV is prohibited. So, Floyd Yeomans.
How about the handshake? It was fist to fist. A high fist.
That sounds a little aggressive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, he's been pitching like that, hasn't he?
He certainly has done a great job. He had back-to-back shutouts. He's had a total of 3, working a total at one point of 20 scoreless innings. Yeomans, who attended high school with Dwight Gooden. In his senior year, he moved out to Southern California, went to Fontana, a town just outside of Los Angeles, and also was a fine hitter there, hitting well over 400. Yeomans with a record of 8-4 this year. And we'd like to pass on a happy birthday to Dennis D'Agostino, who was actually having his birthday party yesterday, but we were on another network, so we didn't get a chance to get through to him on WWOR.
And we still don't know how old he is.
And he still can't count up to 30.
Yeah, I mean, really, how can somebody not 30 years old not tell us how old he is? That's reserved for later on in life.
You better believe it. At least 39. Jack Betty was 39 all the rest of his life. Well, we're waiting here to get underway. Another big crowd. The attendance is back here in Montreal. For a while, they did not draw well. A lot of it was blamed the fact that Gary Carter was traded to the New York Mets. But now that the club is winning, the fans are back. So the Expos take the field. Yeomans goes to the mound to prepare for the start of the ball game. The Expos and Mets have played 9 times. The Expos have won 9, and here in this ballpark, the Big O now enclosed, the Expos have won 3 of 5. Yeomans with that 8-4 record, no victories or no losses to the Mets. He has an earned run average of 3.36. He's worked 91 innings, given up 75 hits, 9 of them home runs. He has walked 32, and he has struck out 76. Floyd Yeomans with a lifetime record of 2-2 against the Mets.
And the Met lineup tonight, Lynn Dykstra, the center fielder, leading off, followed by Wally Backman, the second baseman. Keith Hernandez at first base, hitting third, and Darryl Strawberry, the right fielder, batting fourth. Kevin McReynolds in left field, hitting fifth, and Gary Carter behind the plate. You'll hear mixed reactions for when Gary Carter is announced. He'll bat sixth. Howard Johnson, who's been red hot, the shortstop this evening. Rafael Santana still nursing a bruised right index finger. Dave Magadan at third base, hitting eighth, and Terry Leach on the mound, batting ninth.
And the defense for Montreal, Vance Law at first base, Tom Foley playing second base, Hubie Brooks at shortstop, Tim Wallach the third baseman, Tim Raines in left field, Candy Candell playing center field, and Mitch Webster the right fielder. The catcher, Jeff Reed, and Yeomans on the mound. Lenny Dykstra will be the leadoff batter for the Mets. Dykstra hitting .287 for the year with 8 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Played in yesterday's ball game, had 2 for 5. One of them a single, just missing going out of the ballpark. He hit about 4 inches below the top of the fence. Dykstra said to me today that, did you ever see a ball hit that hard? I can't believe how hard I hit that ball.
And your answer was no, right?
That's right. He did hit it hard. There was no doubt about it. He couldn't get down to second. Yeomans with a lifetime record of 25-19. Last year he won 13 and lost 12. He struck out 202 batters last year and had to do that in his last start against the New York Mets to get over that 200 mark. Also, Sid Fernandez got over the 200-yard mark. Strikeout mark in that one.
Floyd Yeomans last year was not a rookie. He pitched 77 innings in 1985. So that was 27 innings too much to be qualified for a rookie last year. A pitcher, in order to be qualified as a rookie or to have rookie status, can never have pitched in 50 innings or more, or at least 50 innings in a major league season, unless it's that portion that comes in September. And I can't imagine a pitcher called up in September pitching 50 innings.
You got to have a bad ball club.
That's for a good pitcher.
An outstanding pitcher.
And if he's that good, it'd have been up before September 1st.
So the ball game underway as Yeomans throws a fastball, and it's a called strike. Yeomans gets up around 94 miles an hour. He throws just about as hard as Dwight Gooden. In their first meeting, Gooden against Yeomans' high school teammates, Yeomans was the winning pitcher as he went just a shade over 5 innings, beating Gooden. Then he goes to the slider, and the pitch is ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dykstra hitting .310 against Montreal with 9 base hits, no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Mets has a team hitting .271. That's 3rd in the National League. Expos are 2nd in the National League. Check swing, foul, ball, and no play. Montreal Expos hitting .275 as a team, 2nd to the Cardinals, who are now at .277.
Watch how close this is to being a fair ball. Ball looked like it was going clearly foul, and then it ended up hitting on the line and just foul. call foul by Bruce Frimming. It is the home plate umpire's ball on a call down the third or first base line on a ball before it reaches the bag. After it's over the bag, it's the third or first base umpire's call.
And the fastball fouled back out of play, so the count will stay at 1-2. On deck batter for the Mets is Wally Backman. And Wally will be followed by Keith Hernandez. One ball, 2 strikes the count. Expos have been a hot ball club. They have won 6 of their last 7. And now the breaking ball for a ball, 2-2. And in the month of July, the Expos were 18-8. They have been getting some outstanding pitching. And, of course, Yeomans with 3 shutouts, tied for the league lead in that department. Terry Leach, the pitcher for the Mets. In the middle of your picture there, sitting next to Howard Johnson. And a fastball for a ball, 3-2. So Dykstra with a full count as we get underway here in the Big O. Yeomans with his back-to-back shutouts this year, the first back-to-back shutouts by an Expo pitcher since Rogers back in 1982. And he misses with a fastball, and Dykstra is on.
The Rogers you're talking about, Steve Rogers, of course, who threw up the infamous home run to Rick Monday in Game 5 of the National League Championship Series back in 1981 in this ballpark. 3-1 fastball, high and out over the plate. And the Expos, really their only chance since 1969 to go to a World Series. They beat the Phillies that year in divisional play for the divisional series, also the best 3 out of 5 series. That, of course, the strike season in 1981.
And throw over to first base, Dykstra back.
Cardinals had the best record in the National League that year. Or I guess Cincinnati
didn't make the playoffs. They
right.
won each half.
And the Cardinals had the best record in the National League East overall. Cincinnati had the best record in baseball, didn't make it.
And another throw to first base. Dykstra with 16 stolen bases in 20 attempts. Backman, the batter, hitting .251 with no home runs, 15 runs batted in. And the pitch is high for a ball. Timeout. You know, Tom Boswell, the outstanding writer, had a great remark about that game in 1981. He said, on the final day of the National League season in a stadium built for an Olympic game, a Mexican pitcher on a team with a Spanish name took on the entire nation of Canada in a thoroughly American game played before a crowd of French-speaking fans to see who would get to play a team called the Yankees in the World Series.
That's great.
And a thrower again to first base.
Of course, the Mexican pitcher was not Steve Rogers, right?
No, it wasn't. Fernando Valenzuela. Steve Rogers came in that game in relief. Pitched that inning and gave up the home run to Rick Monday.
Steve Rogers, the last half of that year, was phenomenal in 1981. As a matter of fact, I believe he won 2 games in the League Championship Series before that relief appearance. His ERA was just incredible those last 2 months of that 81 season.
There goes Dykstra, a swing and a miss. The throw is high and late, and Dykstra has a stolen base.
Dykstra with a good jump. The hit and run was on the 2-0 count. And in fairness to Jeff Reed, he simply did not have a good pitch to handle. Dykstra with an excellent jump. Look at the pitch that Reed has to handle. And the good jump, slow delivery home, bad pitch to handle, makes for a stolen base.
And the Montreal Expo catchers have only thrown out 27% of the attempted base runners, stealing second and third.
I think that's a Keynesian theory right here. Long delivery home, good jump, bad pitch to handle. I think it's a formula.
Good one, if you're stealing. 2-1 the count. And Backman bunts it out to the third base side. Wallach, the third baseman, makes the play. And Dykstra goes over to third. That'll be scored as a sacrifice.
And Wallach, look at Wallach. He's looking at Dykstra at second base, playing way in for the bunt. This is clearly a sacrifice, even though Backman did drag the ball, but he was clearly getting Wallach trying to field the ball, and a good job by Wally Backman. It's tough for Wally Backman to get a runner over by pulling it to second against a guy like Yeoman.
Throws too hard.
That's right. He throws too hard. He hits the ball the other way. So really, that's not a bad play in that situation, even though it is the first inning.
So the Mets get a runner at third for Keith Hernandez, 1 man out. Keith on a hitting streak. He has hit in 9 consecutive games, has his average up to 300, and he takes a fastball. Keith with 10 home runs, 45 runs batted in, hitting .452 over his last 9 games.
If Tim Tuffle is hitting second, however, with the runner on second and nobody out, the way he's been swinging the bat, it would be a bad play, but not Backman.
Got to deal with the people who come in, and there's a base hit to left field that will score the first run of the ball game. Keith Hernandez singles, and Dykstra and the Mets lead 1-0.
Well, the cheers in the background are not piped in by Bill Webb. A lot of Mets fans up here. You can tell by the hotel lobby, I think. All of them were in the hotel lobby today, I believe.
No doubt about it.
Wally came out of his belt. What's going on here?
So now run in, and the batter is Darryl Strawberry, and the first pitch to Strawberry, a ball call. Strawberry hitting .274, 23 home runs, 58 runs batted in. He, too, with a 9-game hitting streak. Darryl hitting .343 over the 9 games. Keith Hernandez extending his streak to 10. And a fastball right in there, called strike. Strawberry hitting well, very well, against the Expos. .353 with 5 home runs, 11 runs batted in. 1 for 5 last night. And the fastball again, 2 balls, 1 strike.
It's like Yeoman's out of sync out there, doesn't it?
Can't find the rhythm. A lot of good pitchers have trouble in the first inning. Once they settle in, forget it.
That does seem to be the hallmark of a lot of excellent pitchers, especially power pitchers. Guys who throw a lot of breaking balls are more inclined to be in sync in the early innings than power pitchers. Takes them a tough time to get loose. Gibson was like that. Koufax, Seaver.
Tom Seaver. Pitch back is in the dirt. Good play on it by Jeff Reed. And the count 3-1. Behind Strawberry, Kevin McReynolds.
Dangerous situation for Yeomans here. He's got to come in there with a fastball. There's Kevin.
3 balls, 1 strike. And the fastball is popped up and playable. Tim Wallach out in the shallow left. And he makes the catch. So Strawberry with a pitch to hit on a 3-1 count, pops it up into shallow left field, 2 men away.
Well, it was a strike, but it wasn't in his zone. It was a ball up and away. Strawberry's got to have the ball down for it to be hittable. Look at this pitch right here. A tailing fastball. Now, you've seen Strawberry hit balls out like that, but I think, you know, it's a pretty good pitch to hit, but you really want, you explained it so well, Ralph, about that little box.
Zone it into where you can really handle it, and don't swing unless it's right there. With Yeoman's velocity, that's a tough pitch to hit.
That ball up.
Pop it up.
That's right.
And now the slider low to Kevin McReynolds, and it's ball 1. McReynolds hitting .287, 19 home runs, 63 runs batted in. He has a 6-game hitting streak. Fastball, and he goes for it, doesn't get it, 1-1. Yeomans has a great fastball.
Here's that high fastball again, and an idea of what Ralph was talking about, that high rider. Some guys, you got to make them get it up. Yeomans, you got to make him get it down.
Goes back up there again, and again he misses it.
He's like Gooden in that respect.
Very similar.
Yeah. Yeomans doesn't have the curveball that Gooden has. Yeoman throws more of a tighter wrapped, a harder breaking ball. It's kind of a slurve, half slider, half curveball.
And the 1-2 pitch, and it is swung on and fouled off. Count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Buck Rogers, the manager of the Montreal Expos, former Major League catcher. fastball again, and this one fouled back, and it will be out of play. Reynolds in his last 20 ball games has driven in 21 runs. 2 for 4 in last night's ball game.
And he's hit more home runs against the Expos than any other National League team. And that's amazing considering the fact that he was with the Padres. He has 14 lifetime homers against the Expos. And the Padres, of course, in the Western Division of the National League, playing many more Western Division teams. But Kevin has always hit Montreal very well.
He's had 3 this year against him, and the pitch back a slider and hit in the air to the right field side. Coming over the second baseman, Foley. He can't get to it. It drops in foul territory. Well, that's a tough surface to be diving on. That hard artificial turf there. Looks like dirt, but it is artificial turf.
I'll tell you, I think he tripped, Ralph. And you know what he did? He called for this ball too soon. And by calling for it, I believe he tripped right there. And by calling for it too soon, he's trying to get the jump on first baseman Vance Law. And by calling for it too soon, it really kind of interrupted his stride, and I think that's when he tripped. Got a little scrape there.
So the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes on the foul ball. And the slider outside, the count 2-2. Yeomans 1-2 against the Mets last year with his 13-12 record. And the fastball in the dirt. That might have been a change. It's kind of a funny looking pitch there. If it is a change of pace, it's a new pitch for him. I haven't seen him throw one of those.
It is indeed a changeup. And a good job by Jeff Reed, who gets a skate save on that one. Ball hit his left shin guard. And a skate save perfectly appropriate in this part of the world.
I'll say it is.
Montreal Canadiens playing at the Forum up here for years and years. Very popular.
3-2. The runner goes, and the ball is fouled back again, out of play. So Hernandez back to first base. Mets leading in this ball game by a score of 1-0 on a walk to Len Dykstra, a stolen base by Len, and a base hit to left field by Keith Hernandez. Vance Law, the first baseman, playing behind Hernandez with a count at 3-2. And again, Hernandez runs with a pitch, no play at second. They go across to first and pick up the out as Hubie Brooks gets the assist, and that ends the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 left, and the score at the end of 1. The Mets 1 and the Montreal Expos coming up. Now here's a word from American Express. To be in a pennant race, and here's what happened after that first half inning. That is Tom Foley right there, and Tim Raines indicating that you called for it, I got it, I got it, I got it, and then you stumble and fall down. A little pop-up that Foley did not get in foul territory. Well, for the Mets is Terry Leach with a record of 8-0, an earned run average of 2.52. Leach with 78 2/3 innings worked so far this year, 74 hits, 7 home runs, 15 walks, only 15 walks, 35 Ks. And he has a lifetime record against Montreal of 3-0. And his first pitch is bunted on, and Candel is out on 1 pitch.
And the 1 pitch on the bunt. Candel followed by Mitch Webster, the right fielder. Tim Raines hitting third. Third baseman Tim Wallach batting 4th. Hubie Brooks, the ex-Met, batting 5th. And Vance Law at first hitting 6th. Second baseman Tom Foley batting 7th. The catcher Jeff Reed hitting 8th. And Floyd Yeomans batting 9th.
So with 1 away, Mitch Webster, the batter. Webster hitting .293, 7 home runs, 39 runs batted in. Had a grand slam home run against the Mets last night and had 4 hits and 5 at-bats. He had not had a grand slam home run in his career until this year, and he's had 2 this year. 1 against Cincinnati and 1 against Randy Myers of the Mets last night. And the pitch for a ball 2. You're watching Mets Baseball 87. On WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. And the 2-0 pitch is low for ball 3. Leach 1-0 this year against Montreal. And his record of 8-0, setting a Mets record for wins from the start of the season. The old record had been 7. And he comes in with a fastball, a strike call, 3-1. That winning streak of 8 games, the longest in the National League this year. Jack Morris of the Tigers won 9 in a row this year. The 3-1 pitch. And it's ball 4, and Leach walks Webster, something he doesn't do very often. He averages about 1.5 walks a game.
Well, that's what we were talking about at the top, is whether Terry Leach will have good control tonight. His only start since July the 11th, or his last start July the 11th, and he's only worked an inning and a third since then.
So a runner on first base, and Tim Raines the batter. Raines hitting .338, 10 home runs, 44 runs batted in. 2 for 3 in last night's game with a home run. Raines, last year's National League batting champion. And the runner going with a pitch. The throw by Carter, good one, but not in time. So Webster steals second base.
Well, the only way you're going to get Webster here is to stay on the bag. Watch Johnson come up in front of the bag to take the throw and come back. I don't think he would have had him. That's why catchers, of course, Howard, inexperienced at shortstop, going in front of the bag. You can kind of understand it there. The ball may have been a short hop, but with a good jump like that, and shortstops know whether a guy at first has a good jump. Not necessarily second baseman, but shortstops do. Peripherally, you can see him. Yeah. But you got to stay on that bag if you expect to get most of the runners, because usually it's bang, bang anyway.
So Webster getting his 21st stolen base in 28 attempts. That is 114 for the Expos. They have been successful 73% of the time. They have been running a lot this year. Raines with a count of 1-0 as you look at Wally Backman, the second baseman. Backman with that bubble gum, having to go at it, Roger McDowell. 2-0 the count, and again Leach having trouble getting ahead of the batters. First batter bunted the first pitch and was out, and then he got behind Webster, now behind Raines. And the 2-0 pitch, a fastball hit hard by Johnson into center field. Dykstra throws in home, and it is not in time as Raines ties it up with a base hit.
And Raines ought to be on second base, too. Len Dykstra really had no place to throw that ball but to second base. You're not going to get Webster, but watch Howard Johnson. He's blocked out by Webster, and that prevents him from getting a good jump on the ball, especially with the bobble by Dykstra over the cutoff man, and Raines has got to be on second base. But Howard Johnson didn't get a good jump on that ball because he's blocked out by the runner. Dykstra overthrowing the cutoff man, and Raines didn't take advantage of it.
Of course, he can take advantage of it by stealing. He's been successful 87% of the time. The batter, Tim Wallach, and he is hot.
He can take advantage of the base hit, but he can't take advantage of Dykstra's high throw.
Wallach with 86 runs batted in is hitting .307. He's had 16 home runs, and he is on a record to set a new RBI record for himself. There goes Raines, and he's in safely.
Carter has done all he can do on both of these throws. A good slap tag by Backman, but Raines in there. He's only been caught twice this year. He has 24 straight steals now. There's nothing you can do. Only guy who's caught him, Bob Melvin, caught him twice in one game. Bob with the Giants.
One strike the count to Tim Wallach, and this ball hit down the third. Magadan has it, looks a runner back, throws over to first base. Hernandez takes a high throw. Raines now with 500 at 495 stolen bases.
Ball hit sharply, and Magadan a little high throw, but Keith comes down on the bag.
So Hubie Brooks now the batter for Montreal. He'll be hitting .286 for the year with 8 home runs, 35 runs batted in. He's hit 6 of his 8 home runs in this ballpark. And the slider outside for a ball. He'll be 1 for 5 in last night's ball game. Won by Montreal in a blowout, 13-3. And the pitch back, a called strike, 1-1. Brooks, a former Met, and converted the shortstop by the Mets. Right back to Leach, and he spares it, and that ends the inning. So both sides using a walk to score a run. 1 base hit, 1 man left, and the score at the end of 1 inning. The Mets won, and the Expos won. Now here's a word from the good. Top of the second, you got a shot there of Arthur Richmond, assistant to the general manager of the New York Mets, Frank Cashin. Arthur here with his wife, Martha Richmond, enjoying this great weather in Montreal. It'll be Gary Carter the leadoff for the Mets. Carter hitting .246, 13 home runs, 52 runs batted in. And as he is greeted by mixed emotions here, Carter was the most popular player in Montreal for quite some time, replacing Rusty Staub in that department. And the fastball, strike 1. Floyd Yeomans on the mound. Gave up 1 run on 1 hit in the first inning. Carter with a 5-game hitting streak, batting .409 over the 5 games with 9 hits. Ground ball to the shortstop, Hubie Brooks. So 1 away as Howard Johnson comes up. Johnson hitting .275 with 25 home runs, 62 runs batted in. In his last 7 ball games, Howard has had 11 hits. Howard, a member of the 20-20 club, 20 stolen bases and 20 home runs. Third Met to do that. Tommy Agee and Darryl Strawberry have done that. Strawberry has done it 3 consecutive years, and with 1 more stolen base can do it again this year. First pitch of ball, 1 ball, no strikes. And the slider for ball 2.
There are 3 other major leaguers, 2 in this league, that have done it this year. Eric Davis, well over 20 home runs. He's closing in, as a matter of fact, on 30-30. Juan Samuel of the Phillies has done it. Joe Carter on the DL, I understand. Joe with the Cleveland Indians.
2-0 pitch. Fastball for ball 3. No one has ever been in the 40-40 club, 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases. Bobby Bonds came the closest. And that's ball 4.
And there's obviously it's interesting that there are a lot of stats and departments in baseball that can be readily explained. I guess you could say that 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases certainly are not compatible, because if you hit a lot of home runs, you don't have as many opportunities to steal bases. So the point being that if you are a member of the 40-40 club, you've maximized really your stolen base opportunities and your home run situation opportunities. That's why it's such a great feat.
Bobby Bonds made it on the stolen base side, but missed it by 1 on the home run side. Johnson, a good base runner, on at first base. Tie ball game at 1. We're in the 2nd inning. Johnson with 20 stolen bases and 25 attempts. Magadan, the batter, hitting .313, and again a throw to first.
Baseball is such a great game for numbers, Ralph, and a lot of times, you know, we do stop to think about how important they are and why they're important, but it's almost like we're supposed to inherently understand them. Even people who follow the game day to day and under the employ of the game, and you stop to reason and figure out those things, and it's even more interesting when you can figure them out, or when you can't explain them, I guess.
Like the infield fly rule. 1 ball, no strikes. In a throw to first.
That's that's a rule, and explaining a rule, I don't really mean a rule, but a department that has been made popular by, you know, through the press or something, and there are just a myriad of departments in baseball like that, the 40-40, 20-20.
And a ground ball hit by the first baseman. Johnson running with a pitch, stopped at second base, thinking the ball was foul. Now he's being waved in. The throw from the second baseman, not in time, and Magadan ends up at third. Johnson made a complete stop at second base, and the ball was a fair ball. Fortunately, he had time to come in and score.
Watch the decoy. See, Johnson's got to look up. He doesn't know where the ball is. And now his speed brings him home. It's funny what a mistake will do. If Johnson doesn't make this mistake, there's a play on Magadan at third base, and he can't be there with 1 out. But Foley, hearing that Johnson had made a mistake, and he's alerted to that from his teammates, yelling at him, and now Johnson scores, and there probably would have been a play on Magadan had Johnson not stopped at second. So the decoy, it was a double decoy on that.
That's like a double agent, huh?
Yeah, right. Watch Johnson. See, he doesn't look back to see where the ball is. That's what you're... Now when he looks, you'd never trust a second baseman or a shortstop. Whoops. Now I'll start again. Double decoy. Mets worked on that this spring. Finally worked. Had an
opportunity. Came through. Throw over to third base, not in time. Magadan getting that run batted in his 15th. This is his 51st game, and the batter, of course, is Terry Leach, the pitcher. And they look for the squeeze play. The ball off the glove of Reed on the pitch out, but it didn't roll far enough away, and Magadan decides to stay at third.
How about that? The pitch out, and Reed kind of peeking around the runner, or the hitter. You see, he's peeking down there at Magadan, and the ball hits the heel of the glove and bounces away. See that look down there? He's trying to look around Leach on the pitch out. And he's looking over at Buck Rogers now, who likes to call pitch out. So we'll see whether they pitch out again.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Leach has had 1 hit in 22 at-bats. And you see the catcher, Reed, looking over to Buck Rogers. That was a breaking ball. Now time is called, 2-1 the count.
See, Davy Johnson doesn't like the squeeze play. Some managers love it. Tommy Lasorda, Chuck Tanner, Whitey Herzog loves it. Davy doesn't like it. He's from the school of thought that if you squeeze, then you're not really having confidence, not in the pitcher hitting, but in the next guy with the big 2-out base hit. He thinks the percentages are better for the 2-out base hit.
Losing that runner at third is a big loss if the squeeze doesn't work.
That's right. And we've seen it this year not work more than, I mean, far and away more times than we've seen it work.
It's no longer the surprise play that it had been in the past.
Good point.
2-1, and a strike call. It's 2-2.
Palazzo giving the sign next to Magadan. Even if it's not on, you want to make them think that it's on.
And the ball is swung on and popped up into shallow left field. Not deep enough for Magadan to make an attempt to score. It's caught by Raines and 2 away.
There's a subtle little thing right here. Nobody's at third base. If that ball's bobbled, Magadan can't score. That's why you get halfway or close to halfway. Wallach's the cutoff man. Brooks is back into left field. If you're not going to run, don't tag up. you ought to be halfway, and if he drops the ball, you can score. If Tim Raines just dropped the ball, Magadan can't score on the ball.
That's absolutely right. So now the batter will be Len Dykstra. Dykstra with the breaking ball almost gets hit.
I think he was looking fastball.
Well, you think he doesn't look fastball in the first pitch?
What's this?
Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Dykstra walked his first time up.
That's a strange game here so far.
1 ball, no strikes. Now strike call 1-1. Now Lenny's going back to get a 1 ball, 1 strike bat. Dykstra with 8 home runs this year and 26 runs batted in, hitting .287. 2 for 5 in last night's game, and we mentioned he just missed a home run. Got a single out of it, hit about 5 inches from the top of the fence. And the slider. 1-2 the count. Mets leading 2-1. Run in each inning. 2 men out, bottom half of the second, top half of the second, I should say. Fastball, 2-2. Yeomans has pitched 2 one-hitters in his major league career. 1 against the Phillies, 1 against Houston.
I think they'll go back to the slider here, and on that breaking ball, as a catcher, ball can be in the dirt.
Got the fastball, but fouled it.
As a matter of fact, Yeomans was a pitcher last year when Mike Fitzgerald got that index finger on his right hand all torn up, and it was a breaking ball, a 57-footer, and he does throw a lot of 57-foot breaking balls that are very difficult for catchers to handle.
So if you're the runner in third, you get to be ready.
Yeah. Shook off the fastball.
And the slider in the dirt. Good play on it by Jeff Reed. And the count goes to 3-2. Yeomans has made 3 wild pitches this year. That doesn't tell the whole story if you got a catcher back there saving those wild pitches. 3-2 the count.
Fastball.
And the fastball is fouled.
It's unusual how close together Reed's knees are when he gives that sign. You want to try to hide it from the guy at third. Look how close it is.
How did the infielders pick it up?
It'd be tough.
And it's ball 4, so Dykstra walks the second time. Both times on 3-2 pitches. And it brings up Wally Backman. Wally sacrificed his first time up, hitting .251 with 15 RBIs, no home runs. Wally has hit well against Montreal this year, hitting .471 in 18 at-bats with 8 hits. And Dykstra running with a pitch and no throw to second base. The throw going to third and Magadan back. So Dykstra gets another stolen base, his second in this game.
That's a design play with Reed thinking that Magadan may fall asleep or be inside the line and kind of creeping up. You just come up and throw right to third base and you may catch the guy on third napping, but not so with Magadan. Second stolen base of the ball game for Dykstra.
And the count, 1 ball, no strikes. Backman takes a fastball just off the plate. 2-0. Montreal's pitching in July outstanding. They won 18 games, and they had a team earned run average in July of 1.82 in those 18 wins.
And 6 of their last 15 games have been complete games. They have been doing the job on the mound.
They're tied for second in complete games with 14 for the year. The Dodgers lead with 18 complete games. 2-1 the count. Yeomans with 3 complete games, all 3 shutouts. And the fastball for ball 3, 3-1. On deck batter Keith Hernandez. The 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. So the bases are loaded. And Keith Hernandez the batter.
Ralphie picked up on it in the first inning. Okay, you just can't figure it out. This is a tough game sometimes. Yeoman on the DL back in early June, came off the DL, pitched 3 out of 4 shutouts. And now tonight can't find the plate. 4 walks in an inning and 2/3.
3 in this inning. And the Mets with the bases loaded with 2 men out as Buck Rogers appears to be calm. Bobby Winkle's coach for Montreal, sitting off to the side there.
Yeah, he's got a bad wing. He said he's trying to keep up with the young guys. He's got a rotator cuff. Picking up a suitcase.
He singled over the shortstop's head his first time up, put the Mets on top 1-0. It extended his hitting streak to 10 consecutive ball games. He's now hitting over 300, 302. And he has 46 runs batted in. And the slider's in there for a strike one.
He thought it might have been inside, and it might have been. You can see that little look back there. Hernandez rarely will argue about a first or second strike.
Back to the fastball. It's hit in the air to the left, and Raines is there. And that'll do it. So the Mets leave 3, but get 1 on a walk and a triple. And the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Mets 2, the Expos 1. The second, the Mets leading 2-1. Mike Fitzgerald talking with Floyd Yeomans.
Of course, Mike not catching him tonight. Jeff Reed's catching him. I never liked catchers, or never was a catcher, and never liked catchers to tell pitchers how to throw a ball or tell them to get on top of what they were doing wrong, because catchers aren't pitchers. One thing where catchers could really help pitchers is on results of pitches. Like if you're breaking balls flattening out or your fastball, you can correct it. I'll tell you about the results, but I'm not going to tell you how to correct it because I don't know anything about it. Vance Law leading off here in the bottom of the second, and he takes a fastball low. Vance batting .305 with 10 home runs and 41 ribbies. That was a good year. 2-1 New York, bottom of the second. Tapped foul. 1 ball, 1 strike to Vance Law.
Vance Law sort of had it explained to him by Buck Rogers earlier in this season. He said, if you don't hit with more power, we're going to see you later.
21 days ago tonight.
And he's responded. He's hit with power.
So, fly ball to center. Dykstra makes the play, 1 away. Yeah, Buck Rogers, they were in Houston, and he sat him down and said, Vance, you're hitting .270, but you're not driving any runs. We want you in a power position, want you really turning on the ball. He said, we got guys in the minor leagues who can hit .270. I don't know whether that's true or not. It's not that easy to hit .270 regardless of how you're doing it. But Buck did kind of lay down the law, you might say.
He certainly explained it to him, the letter of the law.
Tom Foley batting .257. He's in there at second tonight because Andres Galarraga is injured. It will be determined tomorrow whether his injury is serious enough to be retroactively put on the DL. And Foley pops it up in the shallow right center. Dykstra, Strawberry, and it's Strawberry. 2 outs. Let the tall guy have it.
Well, the tall guy's got it. Dykstra had to climb a pole to get above Strawberry. Right here you see Lenny coming in. Of course, normally the center fielder takes everything he can, but Strawberry's there, and he just outreaches him.
Looks like baseball's version of Jack and the Beanstalk right there, huh? And the batter, Jeff Reed. You know, you think of Darrell, because he is 6'6", as a willowy guy. He is not a willowy, lithe type guy.
He's got muscle.
Oh, boy. He is really put together. Reed with 1 home run, trying to break the 200 mark, batting only 198 on the year. Tapper foul. Jeff coming over from the Minnesota Twins in the Jeff Reardon trade. He came over with Neil Heaton and a young left-hander named Yorkis Perez that is supposed to be some talent. He's only 19 years old. And he's having a fine year down in AA ball for the Expos. Ball 2-1.
Reed's dad is a baseball coach at Eckert College in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Ground ball up the middle. Johnson to Hernandez. 3 up, 3 down for the Expos here in the second. 5 in a row retired by Leach. It's 2-1 New York after 2, and we'll be back after this trial. The Mets with a 2-1 lead, and some consider this stadium an albatross or a monstrosity. Others consider it an architecturally designed masterpiece. 11 years of construction woes, and $615 million later. The original cost of it, $98 million as you look at Martha Richmond and Arthur. Joy Murphy, wife of Bob Murphy, in the lower right of your screen. And Darrell Strawberry lifts one to center. Casey Candell on 1 pitch, and there's 1 away.
And we'll check out the Nissan National League scoreboard.
Right.
San Francisco defeated Cincinnati by a score of 7-3 to cut Cincinnati's lead to 2 games. And Philadelphia playing in Chicago, and the Cubs bounce back to win it by a score of 5-3. Dodgers play Atlanta a little bit later, Pittsburgh and St. Louis, and San Diego against Houston.
And Kevin McReynolds, the batter. Kevin grounded to short his first time up. Fastball outside, 1-0.
You know, Tim, whatever the stadium is, good, bad, or indifferent, it did cost $1,200,000. The architect, Roger Talabert, said, in a few years, nobody will ever remember the cost, so why not enjoy it? Pretty good philosophy, especially if you're the architect and got paid for it.
1-1 to McReynolds. You said $1,200,000.
$1,200,000.
Well, that's not what the Engineering News Record article says. It says the cost was $615 million, and it's paid for as the swing and miss gets Kevin McReynolds. We'll take a look at the American League, and we'll talk about the cost of living up here in Montreal.
There's a fastball right through there. They don't expect to get this thing paid for in 1995. On the Nissan American League scoreboard, Detroit defeated the Yankees by a score of 10-5. Rasmussen, the losing pitcher. Cleveland over Toronto by a score of 3-0. Oakland defeated Minnesota by a score of 3-2. Later, Chicago against Milwaukee, Baltimore against Texas, Seattle against California.
Gary Carter, the batter, and the slider backs up inside, 1-0. They're going to pay for it out of a 2-cent per pack cigarette tax. So I guess the people are going to really have to start smoking up here to get paid for it. By 1995. Yeomans is smoking tonight, but he's walked for. He's throwing hard. And there's no smoking in here, so you can't even smoke inside the building here. It's against the law to smoke in an enclosure in Canada. So it's a 2-cent per pack tax on the thing to pay for the building, but you can't smoke inside. It's a conspiracy. What's going on here?
fastball is low, 2-1 to Carter.
I know one thing after cruising the town today, everything in this town's on sale. There's the no smoking sign. I think you could even buy Montreal for 25% off right now.
It'd be a good deal since there's a 33% exchange rate up here. You get $1.33 for every dollar. So if you get it 25% off, there's an 8% savings, right?
Save a lot of money.
Vende. Isn't Vende sale in French?
Vende is sale. It's all over the place.
Sure you took advantage of it, right?
I ran out and got myself something. Couldn't afford not to.
Well, the Mets go quietly here in the third. After 2.5, they have the lead 2-1. Now here's a word from fourth. The third inning with the Mets leading 2-1. And this stadium, as we were talking about, there are 26 cables from a tower, 26 cables holding that Kevlar roof there. There's a tower, of course. There are 26 cables. And then there are 17 cable connections. The roof is attached to the stadium with an inner ring that has 17 cable connections as Floyd Yeoman swings and misses. And that's that Kevlar roof we were talking about. It's unbelievable how strong that is. It's the same stuff bulletproof vests are made out of. It'll hold 6,000 tons of snow.
And that tower is 5 stories high. And when they get the roof off, the roof is supposedly portable and will be able to be removed later on. They haven't quite got it all worked out yet. You'll be able to be over second base when that tower extends over to the open stadium.
As Yeomans goes down on strikes, and of course that tower will be retractable next year, they say. First strikeout for Terry Leach, but can you imagine 6,000 tons of snow? They get 100 inches, it says in this article, 100 inches of snowfall yearly. And we figured it out, 6,000, that's 2,000 pounds per ton, right? That's 12 million pounds of snow that roof will hold. I hope I'm not in here when we test it. By the way, that information sent to us by Jay Craker, who's the managing editor of the Engineering News Record. I thought a very interesting article to share with you. And it's 1-1 to Casey Candell, who bunted back to Leach his first at bat.
And I read where the reason why they have a retractable roof here is the fact that if and when you have an Olympic Games event, it has to be open.
And that's the original reason for the stadium's existence back in 1976, the Olympic Games, where Bruce Jenner won the decathlon. Candell grounds out. That's 7 in a row retired by Leach, and the batter Mitch Webster. Coming into last night's ball game, Webster was only 2 for 26 against the Mets, and then he went 4 for 5. He walked his first time up tonight and scored the only run for the Expos.
The amazing thing about this stadium, it was designed by a Frenchman in France.
Change-up, grounded foul, 0-2. You saw the helicopter.
They're waiting until they remove the roof so they can get it out of here. That won't be for a few months.
You might wonder how it got here. Very interesting. High 1-2. They had a show, actually. The militia or National Guard had a show before the game, and part of it was some military hardware that was shown before the game. Ground ball towards second. Backman to Hernandez. So a strong showing so far, I should say again, by Terry Leach. After 3, it's 2-1 New York. Steve joins Ralph after this word from Nissan.
For the 4th, we have a score on the St. Louis Cardinal game. Pittsburgh 3, St. Louis 2 in the bottom of the second. Cardinals stopped a 7-game losing streak when they won last night, coming from behind over the Pittsburgh Pirates, winning in the 9th inning. And the Cardinals leading Montreal by 4 and the Mets by 6.5. And as we go to the top of the 4th, once again, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks a lot, Ralph, and a pleasant good evening to you all. Howard Johnson will lead it off. It'll be the bottom half of the order. Bottom third, I should say, for the Mets here in the top half of the 4th. 2-1 New York. Johnson walked and scored his first time up in the second inning when the Mets broke the 1-1 tie to lead 2-1.
Incidentally, John Tudor is pitching that ball game for the Cardinals. He was on the DL, as you all know, because of Barry Lyons breaking his kneecap in the dugout when he slid in there.
Johnson didn't hold up, so it's strike one. And Tudor, when he pitched down in the minor leagues in an effort to get ready for this ball game, did not pitch very well. He had some problems and really only pitched twice prior to tonight. Strike two.
Another good changeup there. Russell, the opposing pitcher working for the Pirates, leads the National League in earned run average.
Well, if Yeomans is trying to develop that changeup, it's a smart thing, because with his fastball, an off-speed pitch can be very effective. Way outside, 1-2.
There are the Met rally caps.
Last Sunday at Shea, they were given out, and apparently those folks were there, and they're here in Montreal tonight. Rally caps and all. One guy's got his baseball a little off center. Maybe he is. In the dirt, 2-2.
Throwing a lot of changeups to Howard Johnson, who is well known for being a fastball hitter. But then again, you don't get to the major leagues unless you can hit the fastball.
And Hojo's hot. A 7-game hitting streak over which he's hit .440. And another off-speed pitch grounded foul, and the count's still 2-2. Dave Magadan and Terry Leach to follow during the fourth. Foul back out of play. Still 2-2, and yet another off-speed pitch, a breaking ball that time. If they do get to 3-2, it'll be interesting to see if they throw him a fastball this time. Looks like another change. And it's ripped to first. Vance Law boots it, and Johnson's going to be saved. An error on first baseman Vance Law, and Johnson's on first to start the fourth inning.
Well, it was a changeup, and Johnson hit it hard. But no excuse for not filling that ball, as Law, normally a second baseman, a little closer at first base, can't find the handle. So an error charge to the first baseman.
And that'll bring up Dave Magadan, who tripled to drive in a run in the second inning. Magadan lacing one down the first base line just inside the bag that went into a corner. And before Mitch Webster could get it in, Johnson had scored, even though he stopped at second base. So Magadan's up there in exactly the same situation he was the first time up.
Magadan with a 6-game hitting streak, and he's really tearing it up.
Johnson running, and the thrower's not in time. Another off-speed pitch made it even tougher for Reed, and Johnson got a good jump.
Well, the Mets get their third stolen base in this game. A tough pitch to handle for the catcher, Reed. And Johnson slide in there, and he is safe. His 21st stolen base in 26 attempts as you look at it again.
So Hojo at second with nobody out. 1 ball to count to Dave Magadan. High, 2-0.
The Expos running on the Mets, and the Mets returning the favor.
Montreal has stolen 2 bases, one by Webster and one by Raines, and the Mets now with 3. No one has as yet been thrown out. Now it's 3-0. Before the game today, I was talking to Buck Rogers, the manager of the Expos, about Yeomans, and he was telling me that Floyd's only problem has been what he terms overthrowing. And when he does, he has a tendency to get wild, as he has done tonight. There's a strike, go right in there, 3-1.
What that really means is rushing your pitching rhythm. It's a much used word that covers a lot of sins.
Yes. Ball 4. That's the 5th walk Yeomans has issued tonight. And runners are at first and second with nobody out. Tonight's game being brought to you in part by RC Cola. People go out of their way for the taste of RC. And by AT&T, the right choice.
With a walk to Magadan and Howard Johnson on second base, it puts you in a position to use your pitcher the best way that you can. And that is a sacrificing position. But again, it's not easy to sacrifice on this artificial turf. Montreal does use a rotation play.
And they're looking for the bunt. Leach bunted, sit down the third base line, but it's going to go foul. They did not have the rotation play on that time, as Hubie Brooks, the shortstop, stayed at second base.
Normally, when you're bunting in this position, you try to make the third baseman field the ball. But with the rotation play, the third baseman comes in and fields the ball and throws to third base where the shortstop covers. On the regular defense against the sacrifice, the second base is covered by the shortstop.
In this situation, too, Ralph, they might figure they have a better chance at maybe getting Magadan at second than they do Johnson at third if they can't get Johnson at third, because Magadan doesn't run nearly as well.
And it's bunted.
A good one. And Yeomans will have to go to first. So Leach did a fine job getting it down in the dirt part and deadening it enough to where it was an easy sacrifice for the Mets.
Nice job by Terry Leach. Everybody says you ought to be able to bunt, but it isn't that easy when they put the pressure on you like this. Second baseman takes the throw, and the Mets have runners at second and third with one out.
And Leach did it very properly that time. He got that bat out in front in fair territory. And he had a good pitch on which to bunt as well. Len Dykstra has walked twice, stolen 2 bases, and scored a run. And a throw to third. Johnson is back in plenty of time.
That play isn't worth anything. If you throw it away, you're in deep trouble.
And how often do you see it work?
Doesn't work.
Grounded foul, and the count 1 strike. Andy McGaffigan up and throwing in the Montreal bullpen. Dykstra hasn't had a chance to play much lately, as Whitey Herzog, as usual, threw a whole handful of left-handers against the Mets. Another one grounded foul outside first, 0-2.
Should have said there's old McGaffigan. They use him a lot.
McGaff again.
Been in 43 games so far this year.
Still 0-2 to Dykstra with runners at second and third and 1 out. That's leading 2-1 in the bottom of, or rather the top of the 4th inning. Dykstra holds up 1-2.
Lenny is really a strong player for the size, for his size. Runners at third and second, as you see there. And you have to be very strong to start that bat and hold it up like he did right there.
He almost jumped out of his shoes trying to do it, too. But he is put together. He is, I guess the term is wiry. That's going to be out of play down the left field line, and the count remains 1-2. One thing I've noticed here about this place since they put the roof on, there seems to be a constant din of noise in here that you didn't have when the roof was open.
Keith Hernandez was having lunch with Dykstra, and they were talking about the fact that because of the color of that roof, there's a strange light in here.
Yep. And other players have said A couple of the Expos were telling me today that visiting players come in here for the first time this year after the roof has been on, and they say, when are they going to turn on the rest of the lights?
Yeah, it seems like you can't see as well, and it's a kind of a yellowish type light that diffuses the overall picture.
I'm not too sure that roof material and color does not absorb a significant amount of the light that's in here.
It certainly holds the sound in.
Now it's 3-2. Yeomans with a lot of deep counts has already walked 5. 1 in this inning. He walked 3 back in the second. Wally Backman is on deck as Buck Rogers looks on.
2 of the walks have scored.
Foul at home plate, so the count remains 3-2.
Dykstra getting a piece of that slider, just nicking it to stay alive. Good pitch on that 3-2 count.
Well, Yeomans has not thrown very many fastballs on 3-2 counts. He has not wanted to give in to the hitters, and I guess that too is a factor in his walking 5 so far. Dykstra swings at ball 4 on a check swing foul.
That was a fastball. Dykstra has walked twice on 3-2 pitches.
The inning started when Howard Johnson grounded a ball to first baseman Vance Law. Law booted it. Johnson then stole second, and Dave Magadan walked. They were sacrificed by Terry Leach. A little looper into left field and a base hit. And it bounces over Rain's head. Magadan's going to score from second, and Dykstra makes it to second. It scored a double and 2 RBIs for Len Dykstra, and the Mets now lead 4-1.
No, this should never be a double, but the official score said it was not misplayed by the left fielder, but it certainly was. Here's the blooper in front of him, and Raines just jumps and doesn't get the glove on it. Makes a sweep at it, which allows the second run to score and Dykstra to go down to second. So a big base hit by Lenny Dykstra, even though it wasn't hit well, it certainly was well placed. There is Johnson scoring from third base, and now Magadan follows him as the ball gets away.
And here's Wally Backman, and Dykstra going to third is in there.
Third stolen base for Lenny Dykstra in this game. He now has 19 stolen bases. And just no chance at all for Jeff Reed, as Yeomans forgot about the runner at second on his first delivery to the plate. This is just no contest. When he started to throw that ball, Lenny was almost to third.
And he's there with 1 out, and Backman takes a strike over the outside corner, and it's 0-2. The Mets have managed only 3 base hits off Floyd Yeomans, and they have scored 4 runs. The Expos have helped with an error, but Yeomans in walking 5 has seen 3 of those walks come home as Dykstra fouls off the 0-2 pitch. Backman, I should say, and it's still 0-2.
What's that old adage? A walk is as good as a base hit. Actually, it's worse.
From a pitcher's point of view, that's true.
Don't give your fielders a chance to field the ball when you walk those batters.
Well, they're happy as Wally put that one right into the rally cap section. One guy's got his baseball, his Velcro baseball, stuck on the back of his head. Infield in for Montreal, and his ball low, 1-2. It's 2-2.
Oh, Buck, an old catcher. He knows about those stolen bases.
He'd probably prefer you to say a former catcher.
He's an old catcher.
3-2. Another 3-2 count for Yeomans.
As a player, Buck Rogers set a record for games played as a catcher for the California Angels in 1962. He played in 155 games.
We saw Hernandez on deck. And a pop-up outside of the left field line is going to be in the seats. So the count remains full to Wally Backman with Dykstra at third and 1 out. The Mets have scored 2 here in the fourth to lead 4-1.
Major league record for games played in by a catcher, Randy Huntley. Played in 160 games for the Cubs. We saw him in St. Louis. Runs one of those Dream Weeks. In fact, he was the first to ever put up that Dream Week thing.
Yep, with the Chicago Cubs. Ball 4. And here comes Buck Rogers out of the Montreal dugout. Floyd Yeomans has walked 6. There are now runners at first and third with still only 1 out. Rogers taking a very long time to walk out there. And that's going to do it, apparently, for Floyd Yeomans as McGaffigan will come into the ball game. So Yeomans goes just 3 1/3 innings after pitching 3 shutouts in his last 4 outings. While the change is made with the Mets leading 4-1 here in the top of the 4th inning, we'll take time out for this word from the Pan.
Andy McGaffigan, the new pitcher for Montreal, with a record of 2-2, has an earned run average of 2.51. He has picked up 8 saves this year. This will be his 44th appearance, working 68 innings, giving up 1 home run, walking 19 and striking out 56. McGaffigan was in last night's ball game, worked an inning, was charged with 1 run on 3 hits.
Well, as Keith Hernandez gets ready to face McGaffigan, we remind you that next half inning we'll have our new feature right here on Channel 9 on Mets Baseball. Ask Tim and Ralph, and tonight Mr. Kiner will field the question that one of you.
This contest going to be on the up and up. You're not going to get involved now. You gave Tim a lot of hints the last time.
Well, you didn't need him with your question. Heck, I could have got your question. Jeez. I mean, Timmy got a question.
I just want this contest to be held in a very Olympian manner, since we're in the Big O.
All right, Ralphie, if you need a hint, I'll give it to you.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear you say.
I'm a perfectly impartial arbitrator here. I'm going to rip you if you get it wrong, however. Hernandez takes high and away, ball 1. Keith drove in a run in the first inning with a base hit to left field, and he flied out to left in the second, 1 for 2. Hit extended his hitting streak to 10 games. Dykstra at third, Backman at first. Still only 1 out. 4-1 New York. McGaffigan taking too much time for Hernandez liking. Fouled off, and the count 1-1.
Keith, a good swing on that fastball. You could see I guess you'd call it surprise in his eyes when he didn't hit it.
How did I miss that pitch? How many times have you said that?
Too many times. Too many times.
This time Keith lines it to left. Raines coming up, however, makes the catch. Dykstra tags and will try to score. He's out.
Well, it didn't look like he was out. Let's take a look at it again. The throw by Raines and the catcher, Jeff Reed. And Dykstra Dykstra appeared to be all over the plate before the tag. So the double play ends the inning as we look at it again, but Dykstra was all over the plate with his hands before the tag. There's the tag, and Dykstra was called out by home plate umpire Bruce Fleming.
So the double play ends the inning, even though Dykstra appeared safe. The Mets get 2 runs, however, with the help of an error, and lead 4-1 in the middle of the 4th. And we're back to the Big O in Montreal after this for R.C. Cola. Tim Raines leads off the bottom of the 4th for Montreal. Tim singled to center, drove in a run, and stole a base, his 33rd of the year. Back in the first inning as he looks at strike 1 here in the 4th. Mets leading 4-1 on just 3 base hits.
Raines with an outstanding throw to pick up that out at home plate after the catch.
1 ball, 1 strike. The throw was right on the money, but you're right, Ralph. It did appear that Dykstra was well on the plate before the tag was applied by Jeff Reed. Grounded foul outside of first. So the count 1-2.
Well, here's another shot at that double play pulled off by Montreal. Raines makes the catch. Dykstra tags up, comes in, and watch now where the tag is made. Dykstra's hands are on the plate right there, and the tag hasn't been made until he slides on by. Bruce Fleming, the home plate umpire, appeared to be in a bad position to make that call.
Blown away. 2-2 now to Raines. What a year he is having after missing the first month of the season. Unable to sign after opting for free agency. Well hit to center field, but Dykstra has room, and there's one away. Well, now it's time to play Ask Tim and Ralph. And tonight's question comes to us from Stuart Barron of New York. And Stuart Barron wants to know the 3 Expos that were traded to the Mets for Rusty Staub in 1972. 3 Expo players that were traded to the Mets when Rusty went from New York to Montreal in '72. Tim Wallach, the batter, as Ralph ponders the answer.
One of them, if I'm guessing correctly, is right here in the ballpark. Ken Singleton.
That is correct.
The other one, there are 3, right?
Yes.
Tim Foley.
That is also correct. Now a coach with Texas. Inside, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike.
The other one had red hair.
The other one still has red hair.
He has all this hair, huh?
Yeah, most of it.
Wayne Garrett.
Nope.
I'm wrong. I get it.
It's another redhead, though.
Another redhead.
Oh, baby. Wallach, or rather Wallach, just blasted his foot. He's already got a guard on there, but it missed the guard and hit the foot.
Oh, right. Yeah, Garrett was traded in the deal where the Mets got a fellow named Pepe Manguel, and the tout on him was he could drop anything he could get to.
Yes, but that's not the question.
Well, let's change the question.
Quit stalling for time. Wallach's already given you some extra time. I've taken one off of the dog there. That is a sore puppy right now. Oh, here comes the ethyl chloride. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, joy. That stuff is a waste of money and time. You want a hint?
Yeah.
All right. He recently finished his career and is now coaching in an organization in the National League.
That narrows it down to 12 ball clubs. No, 11 ball clubs. He's not with the Mets.
He's not with a big league club either.
Mike Jorgensen?
Mike Jorgensen is correct.
Yeah, Mike Jorgensen.
All right. With a hint, Mr. Kiner gets it correct. Tim Foley, Mike Jorgensen, and Ken Singleton went to the Mets from the Expos for Rusty Staub in 1972. So Stuart Barron. I guess it's Barron. Mr. Olbaum's handwriting is slightly above mine.
You should read the stuff he writes for me on the postgame show, Kiner's Corner.
At least it's better than Jay Horwitz.
Oh, yeah, anything's better.
Way inside to Wallach. And the count now 3-2.
Incidentally, we're going to have a Kiner's Corner from Montreal here tonight, so be sure and stay tuned after the ball game.
Yeah, this is not only an on-the-road edition, it will be a foreign edition. Overseas, not overseas, but foreign Kiner's Corner. Ball 4. So anyway, if you want to win as Stuart Barron, I think it's Barron, just did, of New York, we invite you to ask Tim and Ralph. Send your baseball questions on a postcard to Ask Tim and Ralph, WWOR-TV, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. If your question is selected and read on the air, you'll receive a copy of Ralph Kiner's Kiner's Corner and Tim McCarver's Oh Baby, I Love It. Both books free. And that address again, Ask Tim and Ralph, WWOR-TV, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. So congratulations, Stuart. Wallach at first as Hubie Brooks takes low ball 1. 1 out here in the 4th inning. Mets leading 4-1. Hubie had a shot right back to Terry Leach that Leach was able to spear and end the 1st inning. Off-speed delivery over the corner, and the count 1-1.
We're playing this by the Marquess of Queensberry, or is it Queensboro?
Marquess of Queensboro. Yeah, those are a little different rules. Ripped foul. 1-2 to Hubie. Well, actually, the rules are, as always, determined by Bill Webb, who, of course, is also known to change them in the middle of the game. He has ruled that actually, technically, you didn't get that right because you guessed Garrett for the 3rd guy instead of Jorgensen. So you're standing, in Webb's mind anyway, with a 1-1 record on the year.
My lawyer will contact him on Monday.
Grounded to short. It could be a double play. Johnson to Backman in time at first, and the Mets turn it to erase the walk to Tim Wallach. So at the end of 4, New York still leads Montreal 4-. Some young Mets fans up here in Montreal taking in the ball game, spending a little weekend out of town, and they earlier held up their High Grandma banner. Of course, they had to ruin it with Webb's name, but it's nice to see a High Grandma banner. Oh, jeez. Now we've got to put up with it in French.
I love that.
We love Bill Webb. Very clever. We love Bill Webb in French.
Yes, we do.
Darryl Strawberry will lead off the 5th for New York. Mets lead at 4-1. Darryl 0 for 2, but he has done a pretty good job since moving into the cleanup spot. He's hitting .324 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs, batting 4th coming into tonight's game. Darryl also working on a 9-game hitting streak. Ball 1.
You know, Steve, an interesting thing, when Dykstra was thrown out attempting to score on the fly ball hit by Keith Hernandez, Strawberry was the next batter. And you might wonder whether that was good strategy, even though he looked like he was safe at home. Would have brought Strawberry up with runners at 1st and 3rd.
Well, you got all the elements there. The ball was deep enough, although not real deep. Dykstra has excellent speed. Raines needed to make a perfect throw to get him. He did make an excellent throw. And Montreal got the call, which is really the biggest factor in it.
Yeah, that changed the whole thing around because it appeared he was safe, and Strawberry should have batted under the conditions of a safe call.
Way high, 3-0 to Darryl.
Those things you have to take in consideration when you make the play. In my opinion, I think it was a good play.
I do too. I think, you know, if you have someone who doesn't run as well as Dykstra on a medium deep fly ball such as that, you might think twice about it. But all for Dykstra to pick up a run. 3-1.
That's the other thing. Strawberry's not hitting a long ball right now. He hasn't been throwing the ball like he had earlier this year. But you don't know that. That's something you can't figure in.
Sure. Ball 4. So the Mets have the leadoff batter aboard here in the 5th inning. McGaffigan with his first walk, working in relief of Floyd Yeomans, who lasted just 3 1/3, charged with 4 runs on 3 hits. He struck out no one while walking 6.
And Strawberry on base has 19 stolen bases. If he steals a base in this ball game, he'll have 20, and he'll be again a member of the 20-20 club, which he has done in every year he's been in the major leagues. Mets have been running on Montreal. Let's see what happens here.
New York already with 4 stolen bases in 4 attempts tonight. Kevin McReynolds 0 for 2 is grounded out and struck out, and Reed and McGaffigan now having a problem communicating. Montreal's pitching staff, despite Yeoman's poor outing tonight, he had thrown 3 shutouts in his last 4 decisions. Their pitching staff has really done an outstanding job for them, especially when you go back to the beginning of the year, and in spring training they had 15 or 16 pitchers that they were looking at, trying to figure out who was going to be their starting rotation. That pitch too high, ball 1. They had guys that had been coming off surgery. Bryn Smith, of course. Yeomans reported to camp 25, well, maybe 20 pounds overweight, out of shape, and drew Buck Rogers' wrath. But their pitching staff has come together and done a pretty good job, because for a while they weren't getting the kind of hitting that they're getting now, and they were still winning.
At this point, the pitching staff that Montreal has going for them, the best in the National League.
Strawberry running, and McReynolds gets a base hit into right field. Darrell will go to third easily. Webster cuts the ball off to hold McReynolds to a single. Strawberry holds at third, and the Mets have runners at first and third with nobody out.
And once again, Kevin McReynolds with a solid base hit. Strawberry running on the pitch. He moves to third with no problem. Webster throws into second. McReynolds has to hold at first. He now has hit in 7 consecutive ball games. As you look at Strawberry's action, Strawberry making the move to third. The Mets now with runners at first and third and no one out.
And Darrell can cover that ground. Boy, he glides so beautifully and just eats up turf with those strides. Gary Carter has grounded out and flied out to the right fielder Webster in right center. And time is called, and trainer Steve Garland has come out to talk to Strawberry at third base. I don't know what Darrell might have done. Maybe he twisted his ankle when he hit the bag. Maybe Steve just wants a little TV time.
I think so. I just want to say hello to Strawberry, ask him where he was going to dinner tonight after the game. He appears to be running all right. Hit the bag all right. No problem there.
And way outside to Carter. Ball 1. The Expos pitching staff leads the National League in yielding the fewest walks.
That's until tonight.
Well, they're quite a ways ahead of the second place club, but Yeomans tried to do all he could to let them catch up with his 6.
They have walked 7 so far in this game.
Fastball jammed. Carter back to second. Into center field. 1 run scores. McReynolds goes to third. It'll be a throwing error on Andy McGaffigan, and the Mets now lead 5-1.
Well, it would have been a cinch double play ball if he makes a good throw. Strawberry coming in to score from third base. I don't know whether Strawberry was running on the hit. He should have been. And there's no chance at all for the second baseman Foley to take that throw. Darrell now scoring. And the Mets end up with runners at first and third. Evidently, Darrell is hurt. Here's a pickoff attempt at first base, and Darrell goes back in and twists his ankle, so that's where he did hurt it. So Darrell having to run from first to third and then scoring on the error, and we'll see whether or not he stays in the game.
Howard Johnson, the batter, takes inside ball 1. Well, you made a pun on McGaffigan's name earlier. Timmy has just come up with one. My gaff again.
That's a good one.
On the error into center field.
Put it up on the board.
We got to save that one. That's a beauty. My gaff again. So Darrell will be attended to by Steve Garland. He'll get some extra tape. And again, it's inside the Johnson, ball 2. Hojo in the ball game has walked and reached on an error. He has scored 2 runs and stolen a base as Darrell gets the reinforcement. Two balls and no strikes. Still nobody out. Foul out of play, 2-1. Strawberry led off with a walk. McReynolds singled him to third. And then when Carter bounced back to McGaffigan, McGaffigan threw it into center field, allowing McReynolds to go to third and negate a possible double play. So first and third with nobody out. 5-1 New York in the top of the 5th.
And Carter gets an RBI, his 53rd on that play.
3 balls, 1 strike. Grounded sharply to second. Foley up with it to Brooks on the first double play, but the run scores from third as McReynolds comes home with the 6th New York run. No RBI for Johnson, and the Mets lead 6-1.
This ball hit very sharply to Foley, and even though Johnson can get down the line in a hurry, it's an easy double play. Second turn by Montreal. Reynolds going on the ground ball and scoring.
So Kevin with a single and a run scored, and here's Dave Magadan, who has a triple and a run scored. He drove in a run with that triple in the 2nd. He walked and scored in the 4th. And he takes a strike. Well, a ball. Looked like Bruce was going to go up with that right hand, and the pitch looked pretty good, but it's ball 1. Magadan now with a 6-game hitting streak. He's hit .562 in his last 5 games. Fouled away. 1-1. Magadan playing, of course, because of the injured right index finger of Rafael Santana that has moved Howard Johnson from third to short. And Santana's situation is really day-to-day as he was treated prior to the game. But it's hard to throw when your index finger of your right hand is stiff and swollen. Breaking ball fouled off Magadan's foot. 1-2. David will try to walk it off. Strawberry ready to go, has the shoe back on after getting some tape on the ankle. 1-2. Fisted foul and out of play.
That's where they try to pitch Magadan right in on his hands. He has that very late swing.
And he's tall and has long arms. And like most tall guys with long arms, likes to get them out there. Fouls another one off, still 1-2. Magadan batting with 2 out and nobody on, but the Mets have scored 2 more here in the 5th after scoring 2 in the 4th. And they lead now 6-1. And the noise meter out in right center field has had very little to peak it tonight.
It's been down around the 0 level all night long.
Another foul ball out of play.
Magadan's swing is very similar to Mattingly's, in as much as he does wait a long time before he gets that bat in. Of course, Mattingly has certainly proven that he's one of the great hitters.
And so far, at least, has certainly demonstrated more power than Magadan has.
Now, he's learned how to pull the ball and hits that ball with a lot of authority.
2-2 now.
I think Magadan will certainly improve in the power department as he plays a little bit in the major leagues if he can. He gets that bat on the ball from a very short distance. He has an ideal compact swing.
Another foul out of play, 2-2. Another reason that Dave Magadan might be even more frustrated after this opportunity to play with Santana out is the fact that he has hit now close to 600 since he has been in the lineup with Santana out over the 6 games he's played. So he certainly has done the job offensively whenever they've given him the opportunity. Down low, 3-2. That's another thing that Dave has demonstrated is a good eye at the plate and a lot of patience. But when you do have that quick late swing, you have more of an opportunity to wait.
You get a longer look at the ball.
Which is why hitting instructors will tell you to wait and be quick.
Very simply said.
Yeah, but very difficult to do. Breaking ball looped into left field. Raines is right there. And the inning is over, but the Mets pick up 2 more runs on just 1 more hit, but they get the help of another error by Montreal. And in the middle of the 5th, the Mets now lead at 6-1 over Les Expos. We'll be back after this for America. Leading at 6-1 over Montreal. Andy McGaffigan going into the dugout after that half inning, quite upset, and understandably, as his throwing error on what appeared to be a double play ball led to 2 New York runs.
And we just found out that they are not giving Carter a run batted in on the play when McGaffigan threw the ball in the center field. There was no play on Strawberry scoring on the play. He definitely should get an RBI, but the official score, I hope it's not from personal reasons, not giving Carter an RBI in the play. You can't presume a double play at any time if you're an official score. And the error was made, but it was a fielder's choice, and Strawberry came in to score on the play. So they're trying to reach the top of the applause meter and don't make it. And the pitch back is swung on and missed.
Well, I hate to say this, Ralph, but I think it's true that in my experience up here, since Gary Carter was traded to New York, as Doug McClure starts throwing, Bob McClure, they really have not been very fair to Carter.
Ground ball hit in the hole and a base hit for Vance Law. As Montreal picks up their 2nd hit in this ball game.
We have seen a number of instances where they have, whenever there has been any opportunity to not credit Carter with something, they have done so. And that goes defensively, too, because they have given him pass balls when it should have been a wild pitch. And I think there really is some negative feeling toward him. At least it certainly has been reflected in the kind of scoring that we've seen over the years that he's been with New York.
Well, that certainly was wrong. I hope they can correct it. The league office, I believe, has the authority to overrule the official score on a grievous error. And now Tom Foley fouls off his first pitch, strike 1.
Carter reached first base on what is scored a fielder's choice. Consequently, he has to be credited with an RBI. And there was certainly no intention on the part of McGaffigan after fielding Carter's ball that he was going to throw home. He immediately turned and threw to second. And you can, as you said, presuppose a double play.
And the fastball fouled away, strike 2. Someone up here said, well, they're hockey writers scoring baseball. What does Rickles say? He calls people hockey pucks?
Hockey puck. You hockey puck. That's right. Don Rickles line. Well, it has been evident over the years that Montreal has had to get themselves educated with regard to baseball, and it goes for the fans and it goes for the writers as well.
Although they did have minor league baseball here in Montreal for years in the old International League. That ball fouled off, so the count stays at strike 2. Let's take a look at that play, and you be the official score. Here's a ball hit by Carter right back to McGaffigan.
Now Strawberry's on third base. McGaffigan doesn't even look at Strawberry or home plate. He goes to second base, and he actually goes to center field. Nick Reynolds able to go to third on the throwing error, and it's a fielder's choice for Carter because the play was first made on the base runner ahead of him.
Would have been a different story if he'd have bluffed Strawberry back and then thrown. There's a swing and a miss, and Foley is struck out. Second strikeout for Terry Leach.
Well, Foley very upset with himself. Look at that ball rise. The Leach coming with that submarine delivery. And there's one for the physicists that say that a baseball pitched by a pitcher cannot rise. If that ball didn't start out lower than it ended up, something's wrong.
Now the batter will be Jeff Reed, the catcher. Jeff grounded out his first time up. Mets leading in the game by a score of 6-1, and Reed gets a called strike. I remember years and years ago when Life magazine came out with a series of pictures stating and proving through the pictures that there was no such thing as a curveball.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And all you have to do is put somebody up at that plate, forget about the cameras, throw him a curveball, and he'll fall on his back. Ground ball is short. They go across to first for the out there as Vance Law goes down to second on the ground ball.
Well, let's go back again and look at the play that Andy McGaffigan made on the ball hit by Gary Carter. Strawberry is at third base. McGaffigan never looked at Darryl Strawberry, just assuming that Strawberry was going to be running, and with Strawberry's speed, he'd have no chance to get him. They wanted to try to get 2 outs in the inning because there was no one out at the time. And so Carter should have been credited with an RBI, but he was not.
They were willing to give up the run to get the double play.
Wallace Johnson's going to be the pinch hitter. Johnson hitting .222 with a homer and 5 RBIs. He's done an outstanding job as a pinch hitter. He is second to Lee Mazzilli among pinch hitters in the National League. Wallace has 11 pinch hits and 37 at-bats, including a home run and 5 RBIs.
So Johnson, the pinch hitter. Overall, Johnson hitting .222. He's had 1 hit as a starting player. Runner at second base. The Mets leading by a score of 6-1 as you look at McGaffigan once again.
McGaff again. Or you could stutter and say McGaffigan again.
Law, the runner at second base with 2 men out. Good sinking fastball. That looked like a McDowell sinker right there.
When Leach throws the ball hard, as he did that time, he has that hump in it. And that little hopping hump is what makes his fastball difficult to hit. It isn't that it's overpowering, it's that hitters usually can't hit the middle of it. They either hit the top half or the bottom half of the ball.
Little slider hitting the air to center field, a base hit. Coming in to score is Law. Johnson has just tied Lee Mazzilli for the most pinch hits in the Major League.
Wallace Johnson does it again, and unlike the last pitch, this pitch is flat. And Wallace Johnson hits this ball on the nose. And gets another RBI, pinch hitting as well as Vance Law scores. Now, you might go back to the play on the ground ball to Howard Johnson and say, why did the Mets not go for the double play? Well, New York, leading by 5 runs at the time, wanted the out, and it was going to be very close as to whether they could get Law at second. So Johnson properly went to first.
Got the sure out with that lead, and the throw to first base. Johnson back. Casey Candell, the batter. Candell hitting .289 with 1 home run, 16 runs batted in. 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded foul, strike one.
Candell over the last 6 games has hit .481. And he has been one of the reasons why Montreal has such a fine record this year. He's, prior to this year, of course, quite unknown. And before the game, Buck Rogers gave a lot of credit to Candell and what he has done leading off for Montreal. They have a new pool in the Montreal clubhouse, Ralph. The old pool was, when is Candell going to hit his first home run? Well, he hit one right down the line, just inside the foul pole.
And this ball bounced foul.
So they've started a new pool in the clubhouse. And it's not when Casey will hit a home run now. It is if he will hit another one.
They had 50 dates picked for the day he would hit his first home run. And he hit it on a date that no one had. So nobody won the first pool.
It's another reason for him to have a second pool.
He hit it on July 19th, and out of the 50 dates they had picked, no one had it. Two strikes to count. Tough man to strike out. Pitch out, nothing on. Candell has struck out on an average of 1 strikeout every 18 at-bats. Very good ratio.
Anytime you're up near that 20 mark, you're in good company.
Of course, Joel Sewell, the Hall of Famer, struck out only 4 times in 1 year. A full season of play. Shortstop. This one fouled back out of play. Got a chance to see Joe at the Hall of Fame ceremonies this year from Alabama.
I would imagine, Ralphie, that that's probably about the best part of that deal is going up there and being able to see all those guys again. Huh?
A lot of fun. Hear all those stories they tell, all those lies that they tell about how great they were.
And as the years go on, they get better and better.
Mine are getting better. Pick up a few things here and there and embellish it. This ball popped up and playable. Backman making the call. And that'll do it. 1 run in the inning on 2 hits, 1 man left to score. At the end of 5, the Mets 6 and the Montreal Expos 2. Now here's a word from
left-hander Bob McClure in the game now for Montreal. 4-1 with 1 save and a 4.65 ERA. Bob making his 32nd appearance. He's worked 31 innings, so just about an inning per outing. He's given up 33 hits. He has walked 12, struck out 20, allowed 8 home runs, and 16 earned runs.
And it's a beautiful day for baseball here in Montreal. Really was a beautiful day up here.
We went out power walking this morning, Mr. Webb, Mr. McCarver, and myself. Couldn't get you to join us this morning, Ralphie.
I was working on my notes.
Oh, were you?
Yes.
It was just outstanding out there today.
Terry Leach lead it off. He has an idea about bunting for a base hit and misses a ball, strike 1.
What a difference from St. Louis.
Ooh.
St. Louis, we broke a sweat getting our togs on. Here, we hardly broke a sweat after an hour in the streets. It's only about 25 degrees cooler.
And no humidity.
Yeah.
Ground ball, broken bat ground ball, picked up by Wallach, and he throws it high and throws it away. Leach goes on down to second base, and the 3rd error of the game by the Expos.
Montreal has been playing outstanding defense. They have made, coming into the game, only 81 errors, now 84. Wallach does a good job to get over and pick up the ball, but then he sort of nonchalants the throw. He's got a day and a half to get this throw over there. Vance Law needed to be about 7'8" to make this catch. He could have stopped and thrown, but he chose to just sort of flip it on the run, and no chance for Vance.
A little careless act there by Tim Wallach. It cost him a 2-base error charge to his record, and that brings up Lenny Dykstra, who has a double in 1 official at bats. 1 official at bat. He has also walked twice, and he's had 3 stolen bases. The 3 stolen bases ties the Mets record, held by many. The all-time record, 6 stolen bases in 1 ball game. Eddie Collins, a great Hall of Famer, did that. strike the count. Dykstra squares, bunts at it, bunts it fair, and the play to first base for the out.
You know, Len Dykstra might have been able to beat that ball out. Dykstra was anticipating, of course he is sacrificing here, but he's anticipating that McClure is going to make this play. So Lenny runs way out of the baseline. Now Reed makes the play, and watch where Lenny is. He's almost circling around. Reed having to make the play meant that there was extra time involved, and had Lenny just run hard straight down the line or a little bit outside the line, he had a shot at getting there, but he didn't know that because the play was behind him.
So he gets credit for a sacrifice. The Mets now have Wally Backman out of the lineup as Tim Tuffle will pinch hit for him. Tuffle having an outstanding season, hitting .338 with 8 home runs, 34 RBIs.
Timmy's done a pretty good job as a pinch hitter as well. He hasn't had many chances, but he is 3 for 7 with a home run, a solo home run, and that one pinch hit RBI.
Not many Met fan will forget his pinch hit grand slam home run in extra innings. They won a ball game for the Mets last year. One of 8 to ever do that. Grand slam home run in extra innings as a pinch hitter.
And he's had a lot of big hits this year, as evidenced by his RBI total. Just about all the time batting second.
And the first pitch for ball 1. The Mets leading by a score of 6-2, so the Expos playing their infield in for a play at the plate. Top of the 6th inning. Two balls, no strikes.
As hot as Tuffle has been all year long, over the last 15 games, he's hit .370. So he's been really hovering around the .340 mark all year long.
And the breaking ball in. 2 balls, 1 strike.
That's McClure's best pitch.
Big roundhouse curveball. He was picked up by the Expos for cash, dinero, money. Not a fellow named Cash.
From the Milwaukee Brewers.
And it's 3-1. One of the things about our political situation and all the talk about covert activity up here in Montreal, everything is overt.
Now you got to explain that for people that don't
overt in
speak
French is open.
It's not pronounced. It's not pronounced the same, but it does look like overt.
And a strike call, so the count goes to 3-2. McClure, born in Oakland, California. Originally selected by Kansas City. 3-2 pitch, the curveball, but grounded foul. Good play by Sammy Palazzo, the third base coach. What did Sammy play?
Sammy?
Yeah.
He's an infielder.
What made Sammy run?
That ball didn't make him run.
No. Again at 3-2. Tuffle, the batter, runner at third. And this ball hit hard to right. Another base hit for Tim Tuffle. Leach comes in the score. The Mets are leading by a score of 7-2. And Tuffle continues to handle the rough going. When the going gets tough,
Tuffle gets going. I'll finish it for you. Tuffle now as a pinch hitter has been batting .500 with now 6 RBIs. And of course that run coming on the error by Tim Wallach on what should have been a pretty routine play.
Run unearned, and it brings up Keith Hernandez. And Keith takes for ball 1. Hernandez with a single his first time up to extend his hitting streak to 10 consecutive ball games. He drove in the first run of the game. Randy St. Clair warming up in the bullpen.
Randy was just recently reactivated.
Randy had a daddy that played in the major leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Two balls, no strikes. Keith with the game-winning RBI at this point in the ball game. Two and 0 the count, and the pitch back, a breaking ball inside. 3 balls, no strikes.
Well, we'll see if McClure will relent and give Hernandez a fastball here on 3-0. Would you have Keith tacking here?
Keith is very selective. He's a good pitcher, good hitter with a count 3-0. And he takes for ball 4. So the Mets get their 8th walk in the game. Puts runners at first and second. And brings up Darryl Strawberry.
Larry Bernard sitting just to the left of Buck Rogers. Larry, the former Met and the pitching coach of Montreal, has been given a lot of credit for the staff that they have put together this year.
Well, yesterday, the Mets played bad baseball, and, of course, Montreal won big. And here today, the Expos playing a bad ball game. Strawberry takes a called strike. Darryl has walked. He also has popped to third and flied to center. He brought a 9-game hitting streak into this game. This ball hit high in the air to deep right center field. It's way back. Back to the warning track is Candell, and he jumps for it and loses it. Tuffle now trying to score, and he comes in and does, and whatever happened to Keith Hernandez, evidently he had gone back to tag up at first, so he gets to third, and Strawberry might pick up his base hit here on that play. We'll see how the official scorer, who's been very erratic in his scoring, rules it.
Well, I'd say you'd have to rule it a hit. Darryl hit this ball as far as you can hit it and keep it in the ballpark. Candell had a long way to go, and at the fence has a tough catch to make. And it goes off his glove. Hernandez did hold up. Tuffle was standing near second. And they have given Candell an error on this ball.
So that means the run that scored is not charged as an RBI or given as an RBI for Strawberry. And Strawberry is still looking for a base hit to keep his consecutive game streak alive at 10. Now the batter is Kevin McReynolds. So we've seen some strange scoring here in this series. What do you have to do to get a base hit?
Well, not only that, but I mean, on slow motion, it looks like Candell had an easier play than he actually did. And that was not a routine play. He had to go a long way for that ball and leap at the last minute to try to get it.
And what made that play doubly tough is the fact that he's got the fence to worry about.
That's right. This ball just keeps carrying, keeps carrying. He knows he's on the track now. He leaps up, and it goes off the end of his glove. That cannot be an error.
Never even got it in the glove, so a bad scoring judgment right there again, and the pitch to McReynolds fouled off. 3-1.
They even do it to their own players here.
They score by international rules up here. And that is ball 4, and the Mets get their 9th walk in the game, and they have the bases loaded.
Well, it's getting to border on the ridiculous now, and Buck Rogers has seen about enough of this. Gary Carter, right-handed hitter, coming up, so Buck going out to make a change.
McClure working to 6 batters, gets charged with 1/3 of an inning of work as he leaves the ball game. And we have a new pitcher coming in, and right now a word from Midas.
Randy St. Clair now the 4th pitcher used by Montreal. 2-3 and 6 saves, making his 31st appearance. He has an ERA of 4.76. He's walked 12, struck out 23, given up 5 home runs, and allowed 21 earned runs in his 39 2/3 innings of work.
And we'd like to remind you, you're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Pitcher record on the losing side is Floyd Yeomans, the starter who worked 3 1/3 innings. Came in with a record of 8-4. And St. Clair now the 4th pitcher used by Buck Rogers. And his first batter will be Gary Carter. Carter 0 for 3 tonight. Has a 5-game hitting streak going. Batting with the bases loaded. And the fastball right down the middle, strike 1.
The Mets have scored their 8 runs tonight on just 5 base hits. They have yet to have 2 hits in any one inning.
But they have received 9 walks in this game.
And 3 errors.
Pitch back to Carter is fouled back out of play. Strike 2. Hernandez, the runner at 3rd base. Strawberry, the runner at 2nd. McReynolds, the runner at 1st. Actually 4 errors. That's true. 2 in this inning.
Oh, that's right.
Although that one should have been a base hit.
That's right. I have a mental block against that ball Strawberry hit.
1-2 as St. Clair misses with a breaking ball. His father a catcher in the major leagues, and St. Clair actually started out trying to make pro ball as a catcher and didn't do it. And then took up pitching. And the off-speed pitch gets Gary Carter. Appeared to be a split finger fastball, a splitter, and Carter struck out.
That's only the 2nd strikeout recorded by Montreal pitching tonight.
So now 2 away, and the batter will be Howard Johnson. Johnson, the 8th man to bat in this inning, and the Mets have had just 1 hit. Officially 1 hit. Johnson 0 for 2. And the fastball for ball 1. Johnson walked on 4 pitches his first time up and later on scored was safe on an error by the first baseman in the 4th inning. And later on scored, then flied out in the 5th inning to end the inning. That's 8 runs on 5 hits. And that changeup pulled foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, this game is speeding right along, isn't it? It's almost 2.5 hours of play, and here we are already in the top of the 6th inning.
There have been only 8 hits in the game.
But what a bunch of base runners. All the walks and errors. Long counts.
And 9 walks. Tomorrow's game will see Ron Darling against Bob Sebra. 2 right-handers. And we'll be on the air right here on WWOR at 1:30 with the ball game Final game of this 3-game series.
I'm sure Bob Sebra's family in New Jersey will be watching.
2-1. 3-1. Nowhere to put him. Bases are loaded. So an ideal hitting situation for Howard Johnson. St. Clair with a 3-1 count, working to Howard Johnson. And a fastball hit deep to right field. It's way back. It's going. It is gone. Goodbye. A grand slam home run. And Howard Johnson does it again.
Night, it was Montreal all over the New York Mets capitalizing on sloppy play, and a grand slam home run by Mitch Webster. So Howard Johnson returns the favor here in the 6th inning, his 26th home run of the year. Hojo now leads the club with 66 RBIs.
And the batter is Dave Magadan, and that's ball 1.
And his home run also makes it a 10-run New York lead. It's 12-2.
1 ball, no strikes. Magadan, the batter, with a triple his first time up. Magadan 1 for 2 tonight with a run batted in. Mets leading by a score of 12-2. They lost last night by a score of 13-3. Breaking ball for a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. That was the 6th home run given up by St. Clair this year, and some of the fans heading for the exits. Fastball hit the left field. Raines is there, and that'll do it. So the Mets send 9 to the plate as they score 6 runs on just 2 hits. There were 2 errors and no one left on base. All of the runs in that inning, because of the official scorer's decision, were unearned. And the score at the end of 5.5 innings, 12 for the New York Mets and 2 for the Expos. Now in the Big O in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the Mets leading by a score of 12-2, with the Expos coming up in the bottom of the 6th inning. The leadoff batter will be Mitch Webster, who had a grand slam home run in last night's ball game. The Expos have had 4 grand slam home runs this year, and 3 of them have been against the Mets. The Mets pitchers, Jesse Orozco giving up a grand slam home run to Tim Raines in his first game of the season this year on May the 2nd. Sid Fernandez giving up a grand slam home run to Tim Wallach. And last night, Randy Myers giving up a grand slam home run to Mitch Webster. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Mitch Webster, and he takes for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Terry Leach will tie the all-time consecutive win record for a pitcher this year. Jack Morris won 9 straight earlier this year, and Terry, leading by a 12-2 margin, has won 8 in a row from the start of the season. And if he wins here tonight, it will make it 9 in a row, and that is a record that he holds. He already holds it at 8 for wins from the start of the season by a New York Mets pitcher. Fly ball out to deep right center field. Moving back is Dykstra, and he has the play. So Webster 0 for 2 so far tonight with a walk and a run scored.
Channel 9 Sports and Gary Carter have teamed up to fight leukemia and related diseases, and you can join that team by contributing a $15 check to the Leukemia Society of America Sports Cap, 205 Lexington Avenue, New York, 10016. You'll receive a wool baseball cap carrying the Channel 9 Sports logo.
Now the batter will be Tim Raines, who has an RBI with a single and 2 official at-bats. Raines has been a tremendous influence on this ball club from his first appearance, which was on May 2nd against the New York Mets. With Raines, the Expos have a record of 49-29, 20 games over 500. Without him, they have been under 500. Ground ball to the second baseman, Tuffle, who was a pinch hitter and has stayed in the ball game, and he picks up his first ground ball for the out. That'll bring up Tim Wallach. Wallach has grounded out and walked. Wallach is not in the on-deck circle and certainly not in the batter's box.
Well,
so Wallach caught in the clubhouse, I guess.
No, I think they're going to pinch hit for him. And I don't know why, unless he would be injured, or maybe Buck Rogers, now with a 10-run lead for the Mets, is just going to give Wallach some innings off, because Tim does play every day at third base for Montreal.
Dave Engel will be the pinch hitter.
Engel hitting .217, a homer and 7 RBIs. He's 5 for 20 as a pinch hitter.
So Engel batting for Tim Wallach, making his first appearance of this series. And Terry Leach with the sidearm fastball. Dave Engel, the batter, was with Detroit last year, batted .256, and ball 3 balls, no strikes. Got a home run in the National League. Last year with Detroit, he did not have a home run. Had a father named Roy Engel, who they say in the press book is a good friend of Ted Williams. It's reaching.
That's enough to get you in the media guide, I guess. You know, better than nothing. That and 50 cents will get you a diet soda, I guess.
And ball 4. Engel's dad played in 2 Rose Bowl games as a fullback for USC. So the walk to Engel, and it brings up Hubie Brook.
His dad's name wasn't Rip, was he? Rip Engel? Is that his name?
I don't really know.
Well, Terry Leach has walked 3 in this ball game now, and that is very uncharacteristic, because Leach had only walked 15 in 79 innings coming into the game.
Runner on with 2 men away, bottom half of the 6th. The Mets leading 12-2, and Hubie Brooks the batter. Hubie 0 for 2 tonight. And this ball hit in the air to right field. Easy play for Mookie Wilson, who has come in the ball game, and that'll do it. So a walk and 1 left, and the score at the end of 6 as Tim McCarver joins Steve Zabriskie. The New York Mets 12, the Montreal Expos 2. Now here's a word.
Changes here for Montreal as we go to the 7th inning. Herm Winningham is in center field now for Montreal. Coming in from center field to second base is Casey Candell. Engel stays in the game, and Dave will play first base. Vance Law moves to third. Tim Foley moves from second to short. And back in once again, Tim McCarver.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. And Terry Leach is jammed on the first pitch from Randy St. Clair, and Vance Law, newly inserted at third base, throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the top of the 7th with the Mets on top 12-2. And the leadoff batter, Lenny Dykstra. And Lenny's had a terrific night. He walked twice in his first 2 at-bats, scored a run, in the process stealing 2 bases, and then he doubled in the 4th. He stole another base to tie a Met record with 3 stolen bases in this ball game. Fly ball left field. And that's Reed Nichols now in left field.
It's like a B game in spring training. 2 outs. Nichols will hit, I assume, in Tim Raines' spot.
Mitch Webster in right and Jeff Reed catching are the only 2 players now left in the game that started for Montreal.
And Tim Tuffle, the batter. Tim got really the hit that set the stage for this game to be broken wide open. He pinch hit for Backman and drove in a run with a single to right in the 6th. Strike 1, 0-1 to Tim. 12-2, New York doing tonight what the Expos did to them last night. Tight fastball, 1-1. This big oval-shaped dome resembling a hair salon the last 2 nights. A lot of blowouts, huh?
a little hot air action.
Foul back, 1-2.
That was 13-3 last night. Montreal winning, and now the Mets ahead 12-2, but we're only in the 7th.
Would you say that again? I like it. You got a double take from me. You were so serious in your delivery.
I was trying to get you too.
And you did. And your best Bill Stern imitation.
As stern as I ever get.
2-2. Mazzilli has moved into the on-deck circle. He will pinch hit for Keith Hernandez. Hernandez appears to be through for the night. Keith 1 for 3 with a walk and run scored, extending his hitting streak to 10 games. And Tuffle takes strike 3 on the outside corner. That's the 2nd strikeout for St. Clair as the Mets go in order. But there's been anything but order at the big old O tonight. It's 12-2 New York, middle of the 7th. We'll be back after this word from Chrysler Plymouth.
As the Mets return home on Monday.
And 2 changes for the Mets. Lee Mazzilli has replaced Keith Hernandez, and Mookie Wilson in right field replacing Darryl Strawberry. Darryl, of course, a minor sprain. I say, of course. Why would it be of course? Darryl with a minor strain to his left ankle, running the bases earlier in the ball game, as Vance Law on 1 pitch grounds to Johnson, 1 away. Another super performance by Terry Leach as you look at Mookie Wilson, the new right fielder.
Well, Terry Leach certainly the biggest part of the Mets story tonight, even though Montreal has aided and Howard Johnson has a grand slam. There's Maz at first. Leach comfortably heading for 9-0. It seems like the Mets have really given him a lot of support when he has pitched.
More support tonight. So have the Expos. They have chipped in with 4 errors. You don't often see 12 runs scored on only 6 hits. Tom Foley takes a fastball that's outside. 2-0 to Foley. But the Expos have played such superb baseball. They were 18-8 in the month of July. But August, obviously a different month, right?
Okay, here we go. At this pace.
See, about 2,000 years ago, at this pace, they couldn't lose more than 30 games if they played 30 in the month of August. That's because Augustus Caesar was the emperor. This wasn't quite 2,000 years ago. This is a true story now. I read this in the New York Times about a month ago. Line drive to left center for a base hit. That's hit number 4 off Leach. As Foley trucks into second base for a double. First extra base hit off Terry.
And a gapper. Baxter does a good job to cut it off, but Foley running hard all the way and right out of the box. when he saw that ball head for the gap, comes up with a hustling double. The Expos, pardon me, Timmy, lead the league in doubles, by the way.
216 of them, and Jeff Reed, who's grounded twice to short, is the batter. And there's a ball.
So anyways, Caesar Augustus.
I found out that the month of July was named after Julius Caesar. The month of August after Augustus Caesar.
Right.
And July had 32 days. And August, or Augustus, they called him August in those days. August had 30 days, and he was upset, so he borrowed one from Julius Caesar, and he couldn't say anything about it. It had been dead 100 years, and that's why August has 31 days, and July has 31 days.
So that each emperor would be equal in the months named after him.
That is correct.
It's amazing what you can learn on a baseball broadcast.
It is truly amazing. I mean, I didn't know in the Gregorian calendar ever included 32 days in July until
neither did I. I knew that the months were named for the emperors, but I had no idea that it had privileges.
But we know now. I feel like Mr. Wizard or something. Ground ball to second. Tuffle up with it. And I promise we won't bring that up again. It's 12-2 New York after 7, and we'll be back after this word from AT. Top of the 8th inning here in Montreal. The Mets on top 12-2. Had a double mauling in this place the last 2 nights. I'm telling you, this ought to make the front page instead of the sports page. 13-3 Expos last night, and 12-2 New York this evening.
And Randy St. Clair with the unenviable task of having to pitch the late innings of this ball game with his club trailing as Doug Sisk warms up in the Mets bullpen.
And regardless of what happens tonight, Terry Leach, what happens for the next 2 innings, because this game is history, as Lee Mazzilli steps in there to pinch hit, actually not pinch hit, his first at bat as he went in for Hernandez in the bottom of the 7th.
And interestingly, if Maz gets a hit here and might have had a chance as a pinch hitter to bat, might turn out that he missed an opportunity to extend that pinch hitting lead, which he actually no longer holds because Wallace Johnson also got a hit tonight.
Got a hit in the 5th inning to drive in the 2nd run. It's in the 6th to blow it open. Home run by Howard Johnson with the bases loaded. 2nd of the year for the Mets. In Vance Law over near the dugout. You notice him matter. Doesn't matter if you cross the line.
The line doesn't count in baseball.
That's right.
In fact, those lines that were in here for the track events of the Olympics are in many places, especially in front of the dugouts, just about obliterated.
Let's hope so after 11 years. One thing not obliterated, Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon here. What an exciting moment that was. Mookie Wilson, the batter, his first at bat of the night, and he takes a strike from Randy St. Clair.
Mookie hitting .287 with 6 homers and 23 RBIs.
Line to center base hit for Mookie Wilson. So Wilson 1 for 1. That's only the 7th hit of the night for New York. And the batter will be Kevin McReynolds.
And we did get a report that Strawberry's slightly sprained ankle is the main reason he was lifted from the ball game in favor of Mookie Wilson. It does not, however, appear to be very serious.
McReynolds on the night, 1 for 3. A couple of runs scored. One of the worst games the Expos have played in some time for manager Buck Rogers as he takes a fastball low. Buck has done a super job with this ball club, though. And I think if the National League were to, or if the season were to end today, Buck would be the manager of the year.
I would certainly think so, because no one gave the Expos any kind of a chance prior to the season.
Enormously popular here in Montreal. They took a poll the other day, and 31% of the people said that Buck Rogers was the reason. There's a French-speaking newspaper up here said that Buck was the reason that the Expos
were making a run at the Cardinals. And 19% said Tim Raines' addition. So that gives you an idea of the popularity of that man right there. Talking to Bryn Smith. Buck, a good-looking guy. But how good-looking is he? Well, when he goes up to the offices here at the Big O, Rich Griffin, the publicity director, was telling me that all the secretaries there have a Buck alert.
Here he comes, girls.
Yeah, right.
And, of course, they all come out of the offices probably.
They do whatever they do in preparation of Buck's showing up. Really a cute story. 2-1 to Kevin, and he flies to right. And Webster makes the catch to away, but I guess the Expos have buckled under tonight to the Mets, huh?
Well, Buck was telling me before the game that he learned a lot in his first stint as a manager in Milwaukee, where he had success but was fired. And one of the things that he learned that has helped him, he feels, more than anything else here in Montreal, was he learned about himself. Because he says you have a lot of things that you know, gee, if I ever get the chance to manage, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you don't really know how you're going to react and how you're going to handle the situation. And he feels that that's led to his success here.
Carter fouls it back on one very interesting point.
And I think that's one of the facets that has gone into making him popular, is that he has also learned how to better deal with the media. You know, because not having been a manager, that can be a difficult thing to get used to.
Sure.
And Buck says he learned a lot in his year and a half or so as manager in Milwaukee that really has helped him to deal with being a manager. Not that he knows that much more about baseball, but he knows that much more about himself and how he can be a better manager.
Interesting point. 0-1 to Carter, and a fly ball to left field. Reed Nichols waves off Herm Winningham, and he makes the play. No runs, a hit, and one left at the end of 7.5. 12-2. The Metropolitans on top, and we'll be back park. And you see a manager come out to the umpire behind home plate. He's usually discussing the lineup card. And if you see him put the two fingers out and rotate them back and forth, he's making the double switch. And the double switch being Bill Almond in the game now. And he'll bat ninth. Lee Mazzilli has moved from first base to left field. So Kevin McReynolds out of there. And on the mound, Doug Sisk.
Dougie has a record of 3-1 and a 3.83 ERA. He's picked up 2 saves and worked now in 38 ball games. 51 2/3 innings of work. He's walked 16, struck out 21, given up 5 homers among his 22 earned runs allowed. And he will be facing the top of the order for the Montreal Expos. Jesse Orozco is also now loosening up in the New York bullpen. Casey Campbell will lead it off. Casey's 0 for 3. As he bats here in the 8th inning, he's grounded out twice and has popped out to the second baseman. Down low, ball 1. What a job by Terry Leach once again, doing whatever he's asked. He goes 7 innings, allows 2 runs on 4 hits, struck out 2 and walked 3. Ball 2. And if the Mets hold on, leading by 10 here in the 8th inning, Leach will go to 9-0 on the year.
And tie Jack Morris for the longest winning streak in the major leagues this year.
That's high. 3-0 to Candell. Ball 4.
So Doug Sisk,
not uncharacteristically, walks the first hitter he faces.
Doug Sisk from the low first camera looks like Bruce Berini right there. And I never thought that. From his left side, he looks like Bruce Berini. I'd never really thought about that before.
There is a resemblance. Bruce, of course, was in spring training with Montreal.
Maybe that's why.
Only here in Montreal does Doug resemble Bruce Berini. We're
getting punchy in a 10-run game. Mitch Webster has walked, and he's 0 for 2.
Nothing punchy about that. I thought that was perfectly normal.
Okay.
That's another one of my favorite terms, normal. What does that mean?
Open to interpretation. Webster grounds one to first, and a bad hop over Allman as it hit the seam of the turf. On the cutout, Candell goes to third, and he's being waved home. Webster's going to third, and it'll go as a bad hop, triple, and an RBI for Mitch Webster, and it's now 12-3 New York.
Well, this ball really takes a wicked hop over the head of Bill Allman. Bill playing back, of course, with a 10-run lead. And I think that ball hit the seam. Just kind of fires right over the head of Allman. Mitch Webster continues his hot hitting. He was 4 for 5 last night, and this is his first hit, but it drives in a run tonight.
And it gives him a 6-game hitting streak over which he's hit over 500. Herm Winningham batting for the first time. Winningham going into center field when Candell moved into second. Winning into former Met on the year, hitting .263, 3 homers, 28 RBIs. That's high ball 2.
Looks like they gave Mookie Wilson an error, so that instead of it being a triple, it's a double with an error, and the error being charged on Mookie Wilson.
And that means no RBI. Ground ball to second. The run scores as Teufel goes to Allman for the first out of the inning, and it's 12-4 New York. So an RBI for Winningham on the ground out, but no RBI, they say, on the double by Mitch Webster. And again, I think that's very questionable score. Dave Engel batting for the second time. He walked in the 6th inning, batting here with 1 out and nobody on. Strike 1.
Not nearly as questionable as the Carter play earlier with runners at first and third. The grounder back to McGaffigan. McGaffigan threw wide to second base. Strawberry had waited for the throw. He came home after the throw, not after the ball went into center, and that was the key to why Carter should have been given an error. But he wasn't. I mean, a run batted in, I beg your pardon, but he wasn't.
Swing and a miss on the sinker, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. And then the other one, the ball hit deep into right center field that Casey Candell went back for, leaped. The ball went off the end of his glove, and they charged Candell with an error on a ball hit by Darryl Strawberry. So who knows? We should be used to it by now. And the count now 3-2. And a strikeout for Doug Sisk, his first, and the second out here in the 8th inning.
Well, nobody has ever questioned the fact that Doug Sisk has a moving fastball. The problem with Doug is it moves so much that often it moves out of the strike zone.
Reed Nichols, the batter. Nichols hitting for the first time tonight. And a check swing on a low sinker, ball 1. Nichols hitting .253, 3 homers, 15 RBIs. 1-1. 2 out and nobody on, but the Expos have scored 2 runs on a walk, a double, and a ground out. Strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And it's now 2-2. We'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 Eastern Time, as Ron Darling will take the mound for the Mets. And he will go against Bob Sebra. Grounded to third. Magadan to Allman, and the inning is over.
2 runs on a hit for Montreal in the 8th inning. And we go to the 9th with New York leading at 12-4 after this for Metropolitan Life. It'll be the bottom of the batting order here in the top half of the 9th inning for New York. Mets leading 12-4 as they try to return the Expos' hospitality of last night. And here is Vance Law to pitch for Montreal. So Vance tonight, normally the second baseman, has played first, third, and is now pitching in a ball game, and he's done this before. And it has happened, however, in situations just like this. The club has been behind. Vance has a sparkling ERA of 6.75. Howard Johnson tees off on one deep to center field. Herm Winningham going back, makes the catch just short of the wall for out number 1. This is only Vance's second appearance. He's worked an inning in the third prior to tonight, and he and Hojo have a laugh about it.
Well, there are some, and I think I lean toward those some, that feel that you're really cheating the fans when you bring in an infielder or an outfielder or a non-pitcher to pitch regardless of the score. This is an 8-run ball game, and I think I lean toward that. I think it, you know, it's not blatant, but I think it makes kind of a mockery out of the game. And you got 40,000 plus people tonight. Vance Law is an infielder, not a pitcher.
Magadan lines one to left, and a good running catch on the ball by Reed Nichols. Out number 2. Both balls hit very well. Well, the other side of the coin, though, Timmy, is that he's already used 4 pitchers tonight. Got a day game tomorrow. You know, the way the series is going, right, you don't know how many guys you're going to use. That's why,
yeah, I can understand it. I mean, I can understand it, but this is a Major League Baseball game. And the 24-man roster, I know, is partially responsible for that, as Almond's first at bat. I'm not furious at the fact that he's pitching or anything like that, but I do kind of lean at, even though position players can be moved around, I think pitchers ought to be pitchers.
Well, I see your point, but I would agree with Buck Rogers in this particular circumstance.
Yeah.
Grounded to third. And a one-hop pickup at first. And if you didn't like Law pitching, Mike Fitzgerald is playing second base, a catcher.
Yeah, and, you know, if Vance goes in and puts his jacket on right now, I'd agree with him.
We'll go to the bottom of the 9th with the Mets leading 12-4 after this for American Airlines. Here's Vance Law going in after pitching that inning. Buck Rogers having a chuckle over it. And Jesse Orozco into the game for New York to pitch the 9th inning. Doug Sisk just working 1 inning in the 8th.
And I think Davey's just trying to get Jesse a little work. He worked last against the Cardinals and pitched a successful 2/3 of an inning against St. Louis last Tuesday. I think that last Wednesday. And his real tough outing last Sunday, as a matter of fact. And since that time, Jesse's been a little shaky since he's been out there. Last Sunday against the Astros, he had 2 outs and nobody on, if you'll remember, and then they ended up giving the tying run and then the 3-run homer to Billy Hatcher. Tough loss for the Mets.
Well, he gets to face the pitcher here, Vance Law, except the pitcher's hitting .305 on the year. And Vance fouls the first one back for strike 1. Vance 1 for 3, single to left and scored in the 5th inning. Tom Foley and Jeff Reed to follow. 12-4 New York, bottom of the 9th. Outside, 1-1. Inside, 2-1. Herm Winningham working on his.
That's a softball, isn't it?
Looked like it. There was a softball game before the game here tonight, and that softball could be left over.
The score is left over from the game, too, 12-4.
hit. Deep to left. Mazzilli back, makes the catch near the wall. One out in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, it would have been interesting. I guess if Law hits this ball out, he would have been credited as for a home run as a pitcher. That's his position now.
Yep.
And I don't think the Expos, well, let's check that. See if the Expos pitchers have hit any home runs this year.
I don't think they have. Oh, Yeomans has.
Yeomans has one. Another disparity in that little conversation that we were talking about last inning.
Yeah, that's true. Another little monkey wrench in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Foley 1 for 3. Grounds to short. Johnson throws wide, but it's scooped up by Allman for out number 2.
Scooped up by Allman.
Yeah, isn't that one of your favorite ice creams? You know, you like that black walnut.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
But you'll take that almond.
Oh, yeah, maple walnut. Black walnut, there's a taste of black walnut that you just don't get in any other ice cream. It's that simple, especially if it's made in the South. Had some homemade black walnut the other day in St. Louis. Not the South, but
well, it's
close enough.
It's close enough, that's right. Especially when you're in Miss Hulling's.
Unbelievable.
Not too many places you can get homemade ice cream either.
That's right.
That's right. Well, another reason we go there. Jeff Reed's 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and flied to center. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the ninth. What has been about 3 hours and 10 minutes of ball game. One ball, one strike. Fastball right in there, 1 and 2.
And if you're wondering about the St. Louis Cardinals, they are ahead of or behind Pittsburgh 6-4. The Pirates leading the Cardinals in the bottom of the ninth inning. And you can tune in to Ralph Kiner, a special edition of Kiner's Corner for the results in that game.
2 and 2. Ralph taking it on the road again. Coming to you from a foreign land even. What more could you ask for?
Telling you.
Kiner's Corner getting exotic in its 26th year. 3 and 2 now to Jeff Reed. With 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. The fastball popped up and playable in foul territory. Gary Carter over in the ball game is over. Jesse Orozco pitches the ninth, and Terry Leach